Oh, this is what they were talking about.
Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Gamers Roundtable, where we are gamers talking about games. I, myself, and LeafX, and I'm going to go down the line here to introduce you to everybody in a second, but just to reiterate what we are, we're gamers that talk about games. We do this every week at 7 p.m. EDT, so make sure you join us. Underneath my name there, if you can see it, if my quality's not too crappy, it says youtube.com/gamersroundtable show. So you can go there and see all the previous episodes. We also do a game club we just started up recently, and after this episode, we're going to be going into our game club, so make sure you stick around for that. We're playing through Dead Space right now. We're hitting the next chapters of that game. But let's go down the line and introduce you to everybody. Down at the end, we have Charles. Hello, Charles. How are you doing today?
How am I still at the end? I joined like 5 minutes
Charles,
too late.
I'm pretty sure it's alphabetical, and that's why you always get. It's always the same order.
Huh.
I just realized that now. It's alphabetical.
Never even thought of that.
So you got first place. It's just like in.
Then how does Eric come after Gamers Roundtable show?
Because I'm the host, so I get at least priority, I guess. I don't know. They hate me.
But you're directly in the middle.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Too.
That's strange. Anyways, next to Charles, since he's an E, we got Manny. Hello, Manny, and thanks for coming out. We missed you. We missed you last week. Manny was out on the show floor of E3, keeping busy, so we'll hopefully hear some cool things from him this week. Although we'll hear his voice in a sec when he's done om-nomming down there. And because we got another E, we got Eric. Eric, hello, Eric. How are you doing today?
Hey. How's it going, everyone?
I like your cap. I like the Detroit Red Wings cap.
Oh, my cat. They're talking about my cat. I'll bring my cat on later on.
The internet, we need cats.
Yeah, we need more cats.
And beside him, we have a duo joining us for the first time ever. We have Zach and Sarah. I'm sure you can guess which one is which there. But they're from the local region as well, too. They're avid gamers. They love helping me out on the Let's Play KW stuff. They're way into that and super helpful. And they, Sarah actually has some cool art in the background. She actually has to show me that. So if you can show me that now, I want to see your Marth one that you do. I don't know if you have it on hand there.
I'm trying to see. I hung it up. I don't know if you can see it. It's way back there. It's really little.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, that's super sexy, and I need it. We're gonna increase, this episode's going to have your production increased.
Yeah, we'll have those set up at the table when we do the next Let's Play event, so you'll see tons of that stuff coming our way.
Beautiful, beautiful. But yeah, that's Zach and Sarah, and they're going to join in on E3. I hope they did their homework and watched some E3 stuff. So we'll get some sweet opinions from them. I know they play slightly different games than I do, so it's good always to hear their opinions. And once again, I am LeafX, host of the show. I'm going to keep these guys in line, and I'm going to keep an eye on the questions you guys have at the side there. We actually have one. Jace Niederhaus actually at the side says, "Can I come to ask a question?" Yes, you can come to ask a question. Just put them in the Q&A at the side there if you're joining us on Google+. And if you're on YouTube, down in the bottom corner, it'll show a little link to get you to Google+, so you can join us and ask some questions, and we'll answer those to the best of our ability. But let's get on to our E3 discussion, I guess, and see what cool things we've been looking at. Now, Charles, we talked last week about some stuff, and you didn't really get to have too much discussion. So what would you say are maybe the top 3 games, well, just to start it off, that really caught your eye this year at E3?
Witcher 3 looks pretty. But then again, so does the new Legend of Zelda for Wii U that they just announced for 2015. That also looks gorgeous despite being cel-shaded. I know a bunch of people are bitching that it's cel-shaded. You can't do anything artistic with it, but watch the trailer. It's beautiful. Makes me happy. Apparently that's in-engine too.
As I said last week, I've never been super interested in
Yeah. Apparently it's in-engine.
No, see, that's what I like about E3 though, is that sort of you can mention those two games in the same breath, like The Witcher 3, a game that is functional and playable, and you can go through and it's going to be done soon, versus Zelda, which will probably get delayed into 2016, and all we've seen is 10 seconds of a clip and a lot of promises from Eiji Onuma that it's going to be amazing and open world and blah blah blah. We'll see.
yeah, we'll see is actually the right way to go with that. That all they have is that they didn't have a demo, did they?
Of course, that was 10 seconds.
Of course, it's 2015.
No, of course not.
No, of course not. What else was I excited for? I know that. Nope, I can't be excited for anything by E3 or not E3. EA. No. Whatever. Dawngate. The MOBA.
I think nobody saw anything about that.
There were like 3 MOBAs announced at E3. I kind of glossed over each one.
Pardon?
There were like 3 MOBAs announced at E3, 3 or 4. I'm sure there were a lot more on the upper level, on the concourse.
Dawngate's been in beta for a while, but I'm pretty sure there was something on it somewhere, like probably like a tiny footnote somewhere. But apparently, I'm more interested in a footnote than an actual playable demo.
Can I just say that I don't even know what the hell MOBA is?
Multiplayer online battle arena.
Don't explain it to him. He likes his ignorance.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably better off that way.
We have Dota, League of Legends. Those are MOBAs.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm. It's they're very esport directed, so that's why you see a lot more popping up because it's a very prominent esport at the moment. We'll jump over to Zach and Sarah if because you didn't join us last week. What are some of the top, I'd say 3 to both you guys games that kind of took your interest the most?
Well, for me, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I saw at E3 wasn't necessarily new games that they just started talking about at E3. It's stuff that they were talking about before. So for me, I currently play FF14, A Realm Reborn, so the patch notes for that, super cool. I was really stoked to see the new patch they're coming out with. A lot of new material, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, we were talking about this the last games night. Dragon Age Inquisition was a huge fan of that franchise so far. 2 fell a little short for me, so they said that they're learning from some of their mistakes. So Inquisition looks awesome. Super pumped for that. And then on top of that, I mean, I'm still a kid at heart, man. Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, man. Those are going to be unbelievable. I'm super excited for those. Those are the top 3 that I'm excited about right now. What about you?
For me, I'm obviously into Nintendo because I would say Mario Party 10 and Splatoon and actually the Toad standalone game because I just finished playing Super Mario 3D World and I loved the Toad level, so I'm really excited to have a game of that style.
Yeah, I was interested in the Toad game, but Splatoon is the one that really caught my eye. Now, Manny, you didn't get a chance to get your hands on Splatoon, did you?
Read the list, man.
Yeah, I didn't see it there, so I glanced over.
What are you talking about? It's the 3rd one on the list.
Is it? Splatoon?
Yeah, one down.
Splatoon is
Come on, Brody.
everywhere.
Yeah, people are fucking wetting themselves over Splatoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, rightfully so. I mean, I think I'm pretty pumped about it myself. The Toad game.
Bored out of my mind.
I could take the Toad game, take it or leave it. I mean, I personally think Toad's a fucking douche. And I would probably never play a standalone game of his, just because I despise him from Mario Party.
I was intrigued by some of the puzzles.
Didn't you?
Him and Waluigi were always the scumbags in Mario Party. So that has just stayed constant with me throughout, all the way back from Mario Party 2 and 3.
But yes, I did play Splatoon.
Waluigi wasn't in 2 and 3, but once you hit 5 is when they turn into scum.
And you said you weren't too into it there, Manny?
No, not at all.
No.
Actually, there's video. I can show you video of me playing the game on the internet. Our camera guy shot me doing over-the-shoulder cam when we were in Nintendo's booth. I played some Splatoon. It's fine.
What do you think?
I wouldn't buy it. It's fine.
Would you rather play that or Call of Duty?
It was fine. I mean, it's just an arena of fighting, shooting. It's just whatever, an arena shooting game. You run around, you aim with the Wii pad,
right.
You shoot paint.
Right.
Let me put it this way: my world is not set on fire.
You aim with the Wii pad? That sounds very clunky.
It was clunky. Which is want to know what's funny though? It was actually more accurate than when switching to the twin sticks.
I heard there was the ability to use the sticks to aim and then fine tune your aiming with the Wii pad.
No, it's either or.
Oh, okay. Now, my question though, that just the impression I got from it seems to be very like a competitive game. Now, is it just are you not into competitive esport type games, or is that
Oh
part of
no,
why you
I
didn't
don't
like
think
it,
anyone's
or
gonna call Splatoon an esport. Let's not get.
it's just
Let's not
the
go crazy.
impression I got from it, the
No,
fact
no, no,
different
no.
weapons.
That's a bold statement.
It
I
is
don't
the
know.
bold
Just
statement.
again, he's the one that touched it and I haven't, but that's just the impression I got from it.
No, when I
It has
played it,
the
I didn't get the
ability.
impression that it was like this is gonna be at the next like MLG. It's gonna be Splatoon in the corner. Which we use. No, it just felt like, hey, people like shooting games. What if we did our own take on a shooting game? Well, you don't actually shoot the people. You shoot everything but the people.
That's the thing,
sweet,
though.
though.
I think that's the cool aspect of the game.
And
is
if
that
you're
it's
into that, fine.
like
But
that
I'm telling you,
model
me,
of like
Daniel Marino, was not into that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's fair enough. If that's why I was kind of trying to gauge, maybe why you didn't like it.
No, let me put it this way. It was fine. I mean, legit, it was just fine.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
I'm still
between the
excited.
aiming and the actual shooting stuff,
But
let me put it this
here's-
way:
here's
as the list of
question.
things I played at E3, it's one of the most forgettable that I did.
All right, but how good does it get when you use a GameCube controller?
There was no GameCube controller available.
Well, that's what you should have, made notice of.
Yeah, why didn't you bring your own GameCube controller, Manny?
Yeah,
You
jeez.
should have anticipated. Speaking of that, then another game that you did play on here. Now I'm wondering, did you play the Wii U or the 3DS version of the new Smash Bros?
Both.
Both. And did you find any differences between the two, or were they fairly, well done cross-platform?
On the 3DS, I played that new what's that level mode? The pre-level mode,
Yeah, I know what you're talking. That's that adventure mode kind of thing.
and that's what I played. And it's just you run around some little. You have a timer, like 5 minutes. Run around these little Nintendo-inspired areas. Attack Nintendo catalog enemies. Get a bunch of power-ups, and then go into a final fight with you and a bunch of powered-up people. And it was fine. I mean, you played the mission mode in the last one, right? Was that what it was called?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't play too much Brawl.
Imagine that though, but without like any goal, just sort of get to the next level. Do you
Well,
know what I mean?
I guess the goal is to power up to have that end battle, right?
Yeah. So you're not going to like an end point and like I beat this level. It's more just get to as many stages as you can and get as many power-ups as possible, as quickly as possible before your timer runs out. And if you get hit, you lose some and you need to get them back. That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of power-ups on the bottom, like you tap the screen and maybe you'll send out a bunch of swords, so you'll have like a impervious shield, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And then you also played the Wii U version. Did you play other people on that one or just computers?
And that one they just had computers, so it was just for CPU.
Oh, okay. And I guess you're not. I can't ask you too much in depth because you're not a competitive Smash guy. But I was going to say, how did it feel compared to Brawl if you played it?
Well, I did play Well, I'll put it this way, just as a sort of matter of fact, on the 3DS, the buttons are a little bit clickier and they have a little bit less throw, and the D-pad isn't as. You don't have as many, as much as fine articulation as you would on a GameCube controller. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't feel as precise, maybe. But then again, it's portable, so who cares?
Yeah, that's the issue. It's kind of just to help you get used to characters, I think, before the actual game comes out. At least that's the way I'm looking at it. I'll be picking up the 3DS version to get used to the characters so that I'm ready for. I'll have some sort of stance in the competitive scene when the actual game comes out. So right now in Melee and Brawl, I just get my butt handed to me. So at least I'm starting fresh with this one. So I'm excited. That one, 3DS is October, and then December for the Wii U version. So I'm super.
Well, let me
I'm
put it
super
this
stoked
way:
for that.
if you really like Smash Brothers and you have a DS, I don't see why you wouldn't get this.
Yeah, I've already got a 3DS, so it's not like I have to make any extra purchase. So yeah, it's just what it's going to be $40. Actually, that's another issue. In Canada, a lot of game prices are going up. I know a lot of $60 games are hitting $70 now. A lot of
Isn't it because
yeah.
isn't it just because of the
Is it pre-order?
Because I pre-order.
Pre-orders?
These guys were
no one else is gonna get that except for me and Manny. So, well, maybe
yeah,
Charles.
these guys were racking on me the other day because I was pre-ordering, and it's.
Well, I mean, if you pre-order the game for $10, then you don't even notice when you pay the rest of the.
Right, because you forgot you spent that $10.
Exactly.
But
That's what the Games World's coming to in Canada.
yeah, no, I know
sad.
the
There's no
games well are going from.
We don't get the game
35
boats here, so.
I know a lot of those prices are going up as well too, so it's kind of a bummer.
Yo, I can ship you sneakers if they're going up. Just fucking.
Damn Canada, strong middle class. Ugh, our game prices are going up because our economy is doing so well.
Yeah.
First world problems, guys. First world problems.
First world problems, yeah.
All this healthcare is raising the price of my.
Straight up. Well, speaking on one that Zach mentioned before, Inquisition. You said you got your. You didn't actually get your hands on that one, but you did get to.
No,
see
I
it.
went to like the 40-minute demo or whatever.
And what are your impressions then, kind of on that one compared to the other ones?
Let me ask is it Zach? Zach and Miri?
Yeah.
You guys make a porno?
Exactly.
Mr. Zach, so what? Do you have any questions about Dragon Age that might be easier than just going through the 40-minute demo?
Well, with me, I was reading up on it, and they were saying that one of the main things that they're focusing on this time is having to make difficult decisions in-game. So that way, I mean, for me, that's what I liked about the Dragon Age series was the replayability of it. Like, you play through it as one character one time, do it this path. You can start over the whole game, and it's obviously the main storyline's the same, but it's essentially a different game the way you play it out. So, I mean, in terms of that stuff, I mean, I guess in a 40-minute demo, you couldn't really see that.
Oh, of course they would never show that. But not only that, though, I mean, if they took that out, it wouldn't be Dragon Age or Infinity Engine-inspired game anymore at that point, right?
Yeah, the main question I wanted to hear, though, is I heard that you can move between two types of combat style. Is that you can do it the more Dragon Age 2 kind of action-oriented style, or you can do it more simpler Dragon Age 1 kind of over-the-head kind of tactical style. Did you get to see anything of that at all?
You mean the pause tactical combat?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's there. It's there from 1. It's the action seems more actiony, and the tactics seem less tactical.
Okay.
They're hedging their bets a bit, so you'll pause, and it seems more instead of like, okay, I want to have this guy do this, well, this. It just seems more like, Archer, stay here and keep shooting. Mage, stay here and keep maging, and I'll be over here attacking with my swords.
Now, is that because you think that was difficult? The difficulty?
No, I mean, that's just what I'm hearing from other press journals and what they've been saying, and just what I saw too. Is just,
I wish more free. I don't mean to interrupt you, Manny, but I just want to say real quick before I forget that I wish more games in that genre. Like the Dragon Ages and stuff like that, and not so much The Witcher, but just in that spectrum of the medieval, era or whatever with that fighting combat style. I think if they intertwine more of the fighting, like the battle system from Final Fantasy 13, with the different paradigms and stuff that you could use on the fly, I think that would kind of be like an interesting kind of twist instead of like, focusing like, okay, you have to go over here and do this and attack, and use this certain spell or whatever, because it's like, the AI, the way that they built around the AI too, I thought that it was pretty intelligent so much. I mean, the game wasn't that great, but the AI was good in the fighting,
The game was okay.
A lot of people hated the system in 13,
Yeah.
so that's a
Yeah, I mean, really, if you want the game to play itself, like, put a
don't-
certificate inside the game that says, congratulations, you win.
Hey, look, I've been fucking dying for just a turn-based fucking Final Fantasy, okay, for years.
I'm with you on that one. I'm with you.
Yeah.
But if you actually look at Final Fantasy 13, everybody's complaining because you were just mashing A the whole time. And it's look at Final Fantasy 7, man. You just mash A the whole time. By the time you get to level 99, you just hit A every time. You killed everybody. I mean, to me, it wasn't that much different.
It's very cool. No, yeah, I totally agree with you. But sorry,
I say that. No, it's cool, man. It's cool. But I think what you're asking for is just maybe Tales of Zillia or something. A Japanese Western RPG. Japanese, you know what I mean? A JRPG open world.
Yeah.
Not Tales of Zillia, the new Xeno whatever.
Yeah, the
Xenoblade Chronicles.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, the last one was sort of open world too, right? Xeno whatever. I don't know, dude. JRPGs. Anyway. No, the thing I will say that about the Dragon Age demo was they tried to impress how much more open it was. Now they never said the words open world. I think they were pretty clear about that. You have bigger open areas, bigger zones, and so maybe you'll be up in the top of the mountain in this zone, and as you work your way down, you kill some bears. And they said if you kill too many bears, eventually the population of bears will decrease, and they'll have to replace them with other monsters. Or you'll make your way down, and you'll overlook a ledge, and you'll see a battle below you. So you'll work your way down through the pass, and you'll participate in that battle. You take everyone out, and then over time, as you make choices, say your Inquisition becomes more powerful, or you take over this region, you'll see less frequent bandit attacks, and instead you'll see maybe your banners of your Inquisition along the road, and you'll have guards patrolling on, sort of in Oblivion, how you had the Imperial Guards and patrolling the roads. Sort of that kind of stuff, sort of more seamless movement from area to area within these little zones. Well, I should say like bigger zones.
Yeah.
But sort of thematically consistent at the same time. They were very careful not to say open world. I mean, there was like a joke going around that like this year's E3 was, you see those mountains, you can go there. Even Adrian Numa was saying that in the Zelda game. In those mountains in the distance, you can actually go there if you want to. And then the Witcher, that tree over there in the distance, you can go there.
There's nothing there, but you can do it.
So, I mean, the combat though is, I don't think they're. I think we're all kind of mistaken if we think that BioWare's throwing away the lessons they learned in Dragon Age 2, because they're not throwing that away. I think there was a segment of people who did like the more action-oriented combat than the first one, but then they don't want to alienate the people who like the tactical combat. So it's sort of like maybe the best of both worlds or the worst of both worlds, depending on your perspective on how that finally turns out.
I think for me, playing both, and I like did a lot of both of the games. I feel like they played out pretty similarly. I think Dragon Age 2 just looked like it was more action-oriented. The moves, the abilities all looked a little bit more elaborate. I didn't find the gameplay that much different. Well, as much as a lot of the other critiques are saying, and like, I played through every difficulty, got every achievement.
What platform did you play on? I think that's the bigger question.
Well, I played it both on Xbox and PS3.
All right, and maybe that's the difference too, because if you would have played it on PC, you were expecting a lot more fine-grained mouse control. Stop here, move this guy, select this ability over here, stop, pause. You know, the way you played the old Infinity Engine BioWare games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, it's true though. As a console person, I didn't use the tactile system as much as I should have. So, if they just make it better and easier to use the tactical systems on consoles, but hopefully expand on the depth a little bit on PCs, it might be able to satisfy both people. But then again, at this point, maybe if that's what you really, really want, go get Wasteland 2, Tides of Numenera, and Pillars of Eternity, and then just play this one for the dialogue and the sexies. You know?
Yep.
The sexy times.
Just before I get on to the next thing, Christian Eduardo Mendez Escobar at the side. That's a mouthful of a name.
Fantastic name. I'd like your hand.
Just wants to know, where are you? I feel like you are Americans. We got some Americans and some Canadians here. We got.
Are you trying to say? Wait, is this guy saying we all look the same? That's racist.
I know.
That's racist.
But yeah, we got Americans and Canadians mixed in together here. I remember we've had quite the cast before. Actually, we've had a guy from Afghanistan join in at once as well too, and I've had a buddy from the UK join at once way back as well too. So we've had people from everywhere. And Addendum Zeitgeist, is that a game or a movie?
That's a movie.
Oh,
It's a Google.
We can tell you about that later, but we're talking about games at the moment, Christian. So
Is that what he wants to talk about?
Yeah, but so if you have questions about video games, we'll talk about those. But feel free to if you follow any of us on Twitter underneath our names there, we'll feel happy to talk to you about other things outside of this podcast. But back to talking about pre-orders. One of the games that I pre-ordered was Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, and it looks like Manny got his hands on that one. And I really want to hear about this one. To me, it looks almost like an Assassin's Creed style.
Oh, so you're super interested in Sniper Elite 3 Africa?
Sniper Elite is. I'm actually not interested in the Sniper Elites.
Oh. So what are you talking
No.
about then?
The Shadow of Mordor,
Oh, okay.
Middle Earth. Oh,
Nobody wants to talk about Sniper Elite 3 Africa.
I don't think anybody. No, that was one of the games that the guy was listing off to me of games I might want. And I'm like, yeah, I'll pass.
Nice.
Yeah. So you said you got your hands on that one, then, Minnie. It's from what it looks like an Assassin's Creed style Middle Earth game.
I think more Batman. It's a lot more Batman than you would think.
Batman.
From what I hear, though, is that it was originally supposed to be a Batman game.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Who
that
was
was
that?
never. That was not originally a Middle Earth game. I mean, that was originally something else, and then something happened, and it became a Lord of the Rings game. Which is why it feels so un-Lord of the Rings like. But
Yeah, and I think we talked about it a while ago, just having franchises slapped onto a game that's already existed. Now, who's developing this one again? Monolith. That's doing it. Refresh my memory. What games have they done
I don't remember.
in the past?
Monolith does something good. Hold on, let me look real
You know what I
quick.
heard the rumors were? That this was supposed to be they were gonna originally make a Batman, the Arkham games. Imagine that, but like in the Dark Knight universe. But apparently Zack Snyder, well, who's this? Nolan backed out or something.
Oh,
Eventually.
okay.
So they retooled it.
So Monolith Games made, wow, okay, Claw, Get Medieval. They made Blood 2, The Chosen, Aliens vs. Predator 2. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No One Lives Forever. They made Tron 2.0.
That was decent.
Okay, no, they made the Condemned games. They made Condemned, Criminal Origins.
Oh, okay, yep. And Fear 1 and 2.
Yep. They did Fear 2. They also did Gotham City Imposters.
That makes sense then, because the Fear games were all about the AI, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, huge.
So a lot of this game, most of what this game is the Nemesis system, where underneath Sauron are a bunch of war chiefs, like 4 war chiefs, and underneath them are their captains, and underneath their captains are their lieutenants, and underneath their lieutenant, there's this big web of orcs, and they all have these interconnected relationships that you can see on this chart. And it was interesting because I got like an hour to play this game, which never happens at an E3. You just have an hour to play a game. So I just sat there and I played this for an hour, and I got to really dive deep into this Nemesis system, and I even took out one of the war chiefs. But first, I went after hunting over his lieutenants, and I converted one. But it's like it was interesting because they had everything unlocked because it was a demo. They just want you to play around with it. So like every 5 minutes, I'd go to assassinate one of the captains, and then another captain would spot me, and then they're like, "There you are! Blah, 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 I'm gonna kill you." And then I start fighting this guy, and then another guy's like, "Sure, oh there he is!" Blah 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 blah, and then their name would pop up underneath, and I make this point though because eventually I got killed by one of them after I'd killed several of these lower-ranking captains, and the random orc who killed me got promoted. See, when you die, it's not a game over. You sort of respawn because you're a wraith, and you're sort of unkillable, and time passes between your resurrection. So in the time that passed between when I was killed and when I resurrected, that random orc who killed me was promoted to a lieutenant in the main war chief guy who was trying to kill, and he was promoted mainly because he killed me. So there's a kind of
really awesome.
So this kind of history you have of all of these orcs. So like my game will be different from your game because your orcs will be completely differently procedurally generated than mine were, and each one has its own ranks, like list of strengths and weaknesses, things they're scared of, things that they're strong against. So you mix that all together, and you're interacting with that in a sort of really light action RPG kind of way, sort of like a little bit more RPG than Batman, almost as much RPG as Lord of the Rings War in the North, but not quite. So Batman combat, Assassin's Creed traversal, sort of open areas, Nemesis system, and if you can sort of get an idea, wrap your head around the game that comes out of that.
Yeah, to be honest, you're just making me more and more excited about this game.
I don't think it's going to be super long though. I think this is a game they want you to play multiple times. From what I understand, it's like 20.
Well, that's what it sounds like, because it sounds like the replay value of it is huge. if every time you go through it, it's going to be a little bit different.
So I think there's 20 main story missions, and they didn't go much into the side quests, but it seems like there's going to be side quests to do on the stuff to do on the side, and there's going to be that constant interaction of, okay, so there's actually one of the benefits is that, say you find a low-level captain, I mean a low-level rank lieutenant who's in charge of a few guys, and you have this power, you can sort of possess them or influence them with your wraith abilities.
I saw that, yeah.
So what you might want to do, here's a potential tactic, is to sort of possess this guy and then kill everyone above him. And then as time passes, he goes up in the ranks, and eventually he may become a war chief. So not only do you control this war chief, but you control all of the minions beneath him. So you control his captains, and you control the blah 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 and all the soldiers they have. So a good tactic would be maybe sort of place a sleeper agent into the ranks of the war chiefs, and then have him go do battle against other war chiefs, or have him help you in story missions and bring along the entire orc army that you've converted to your side. So there's like a lot of sort of procedural gameplay that comes out of it.
I wouldn't even mind if a game like that is a little shorter, just because the amount of time you're going to spend trying to gain control. Yeah. Oh, that's cool, because they've created like a living, breathing world out of your enemies here, without even having to add story really.
And it's funny, every time you see one of these these special orcs, there's sort of like this brief interstitial where they say something to you, and then it has like their little name underneath. You'd be like, "You're back again. I killed you once. I can kill you again." And then that's just like, "Oh, screw you, dude. You got promoted because you killed me. You're dead. You're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead to me, orc."
That sounds really awesome, actually, and it's got me even more sick. I'm happy I pre-ordered it.
Well, good for you.
What didn't you pre-order?
I think your friends are trying to say something, but we
sorry, Zach.
I was gonna say, sorry. In terms of story too, one thing that people need to realize too is that this is actually like authentic to the actual the Lord of the Rings story. Like it takes place between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. It's actually like written by J.R.R. Tolkien. So this is for people. It's for people who don't want to read all like the off books just from the main story. Like it actually, you're going to get a lot of information about the world and stuff. Like Gollum's apparently going to be in it, and it's actually all, even though it's separate from the main storyline, it's actually part of the world. It's legitimate. It's got authenticity.
Well, let me say this though, because when you say that, I get turned off instantly because I don't like Lord of the Rings. So let me say this though, it is to you too. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that the Lord of the Rings license wasn't a hindrance. If this kind of game just sounds interesting to you, it stands in its own right. It's its own unique thing that it stands in its own right. And if you care about the Lord of the Rings stuff, it's all around. It's all in there, and the story's there if you want to dig deeper. So
I think that goes kind of back to what you were saying before. With a lot of Star Wars games, is that even if you're not into Star Wars, there's a lot of good games out there that you could enjoy.
Yeah, that's the thing though. I mean, some Star Wars games, it's like, oh, don't bother playing this unless you've watched Clone Wars season 3 through 4. It's like, forget that. This is just. It sounds like this is just going to be a solid game if you like fantasy, or if you just like these sort of procedurally generated stuff, or if you like Lord of the Rings, or you don't. It seems like it's going to be a solid game, just like how Batman was. Even if you don't like Batman was a pretty good game.
Yeah.
So.
Now, there's one on the list that you played here that I want to ask Charles about too. Charles, I know you love Zelda games. Are you any bit interested in Hyrule Warriors?
Kind of. Looks interesting, but I've never played a Dynasty Warriors game, so.
We should wait for Sarah and Zach. I'm curious. Are you guys seem like you're big Nintendo fans, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I think it looks super sweet. I mean, people need to realize with it is that it is a Zelda like game, but it's not part of like the whole Zelda Historia per se. It's a spin-off, right? Take it for what it is and enjoy it. I'm super pumped on it. I like some of the Dynasty games. It's literally just like a hack and slash. Like I remember the one they had for the Gundam series. I thought that was a lot of fun. I mean, to me, they're not like the most amazing games I've ever played, but they're a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm pretty pumped on it. It looks great.
All right. I played it. I think there's a video of me playing on the internet. It is Dynasty Warriors. So if you don't like, I was making this joke with some people around us that it's so funny that this is a game that if you would have put any other branding on it, no one would pay any attention to. But as soon as you put a Zelda veneer on it, people are like, "Oh, a Dynasty Warriors game. I'll totally play that." You take off the veneer, put the Zelda veneer back. Oh, that looks really interesting. I can't.
And that's what I was kind of curious. That's why I was asking Charles, mainly because he's a Zelda guy, if this gameplay is intriguing him to him at all, because it's really just Dynasty Warriors, with.
Oh, let
a
me put it this
texture
way.
pack.
This is how Dynasty Warrior it is. There was a map in the corner that had the different like little square blocks, and I had to go. When you go into the new the red block, you have to kill the captain, and then killing the captain unlocks the next zone, and then you kill the next captain, and then you kill enough captains across the map. Eventually, you unlock the general, but this time the general was a Dodongo because it's Zelda. You kill the general, and then you win the field.
And again, I've never played a Dynasty Warriors, but from what I've seen from this one, it looks like it's almost mindless fun. Like you're just going in, killing as many things. Like it's arcadey in the sense like how many things can I kill at once?
That's legitimately what the Dynasty games are. Yeah, 100%. It's hack and slash, and I mean they're good for what they are. They're fun. I mean, you can try them out. Come into the store, pick up one of the Dynasty Warriors for PS2 for $5, man, and you'll completely know what it's like. And then just picture a Zelda skin on it. That's what you're gonna get.
At least you're being honest about that, all right? Because there were some people trying to put up like, oh, no, this is something more. No, straight up, this is the same Dynasty Warriors games. If you are okay with that and you want a Zelda skin, go for it.
Yeah.
If you don't like Zelda, you can get the One Piece skin, or you can get the various Gundam skins.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like Chinese people, you can get the Japanese skin.
It's Dynasty Warriors in a tunic, pretty much.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I maybe I will have to come by and pick it because I've heard some people talk about it before. I've never actually played the game, so I'll have to hop over to the shop.
Warriors make your finger feel like it's gonna fucking fall off your thumb. Well, hate.
Yeah, I am so not into. Like, I maybe liked it once when the first PS2 came out. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Look at the enemies on screen. But that was PS2. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I feel it's almost in the same vein of like a Dead Rising kind of game where it's just
no, it's a little different.
No. I'm just saying like the reason that it would be fun is because I can kill so many enemies at once.
Well, not quite. I mean, I think Dead Rising has a lot. It's a little different.
I'm not discrediting Dead Rising at all. No, there's a lot more to it. I'm just saying kind of the same arcadey kind of how many things can I kill at once is what I'm saying.
All right. Okay. Okay.
And another one, I've actually never. My friend, my good friend is actually he's away now because he's in the military, and he's a sniper himself. And so Sniper Elite, I've always wondered if that'd be a good game for him. Now, I've never played Sniper Elites. How precise and accurate is it to actual sniping? I mean, maybe you're not a sniper, Manny, but is it very?
If I was, I wouldn't say it publicly. Something like that.
How intricate is it when it comes to shooting off your rifle?
Well, I don't know. This is one of. I didn't have an appointment for this. This was just on in the Microsoft area. I just walked up to a station and played for a little bit. Mm-hmm. All I can really tell you is that it was on an Xbox One. You look down it's the game when you look down the scopes, you hold your breath, you have the little reticle, you have to adjust for the wind and the drop of your bullet, and if you get a good shot, you see the X-ray of the bullet go ripping through the person's body. Yeah.
So,
that's almost pretty much what being a sniper is, minus the setup.
So actually, yeah, that's the thing. Is one of the big things I've heard a lot of war stories is. Being a sniper is a lot about patience. You're crawling. There's one guy I remember in the story. He ended up for a day having to crawl through dirt and grass just to get to his target. Now I'm assuming the game isn't going to make you take 24 hours to get to your target.
That would be the most boring game ever.
but I feel like when I'm going to buy a Sniper Elite game, I know what I'm getting into. I'm getting into.
This is a little bit more different. Think a little bit Splinter Cell with a rifle.
Okay, so it's a little bit of stealth to it.
The only reason why I played it though is because it was an open station. I just wanted to spend some time with an Xbox One, and I ended up having a little bit of fun with it.
Okay.
Mostly because I like the setting is one that's not really you don't see very often in games. It's the North Africa campaign of World War II. With Erwin Rommel's forces and Montgomery in the north. It's sort of like one of the first Allied victories to sort of set the stage for further Allied victories and help to secure the area in the north. And it's sort of I can only think of maybe 2 other games off the top of my head that took place
Yeah,
in North
not
America.
many touch on that. Yeah.
It was like Medal of Honor, the second Medal of Honor game where you play the lady photographer, part of the Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like this
Is
was
this
back in the.
because there aren't Americans in that setting?
You know, it's funny. You're probably right. That is exactly it. There are no Americans. It's mainly a British, Italian. I think the uh, New Zealand sent a lot of their Maori forces up there too. It was very much a Commonwealth fight, a Commonwealth Axis, and I say Axis, I mean there were Italian forces too. So it's one of these really unique fights where they had all these people minus the Americans, so no one cares. It was like
And
one of the biggest tank battles in history too. It's so interesting. So many tanks and just empty dune seas of just it's cool, but no one cares. No Americans.
And on the topic of war, still then, Valiant Hearts. That's the one that
Oh yeah,
looks very
I'm curious.
heartfelt.
Before I get into it, did anyone else see this one? It was at the Ubisoft press conference.
Yes, I actually saw a bit about it a while ago when they first announced it.
Oh, I had no idea it was announced already. No
Oh
clue.
yeah, they showed stuff months and months before about Valiant
Yeah,
Hearts.
that was under the radar. I've never heard anyone talk about it before E3.
I don't even know where I heard it from, but I know that I knew about it, and I had
I
seen
would
it.
play the game just for the artwork alone. The artwork in that game is super unique and looks fantastic. I'd play that game simply for the artwork.
Yeah, so I guess the idea is that for those that don't know, it's a bunch of stories that are based off of letters that were sent back from soldiers while they're on the battlefield. I guess, Manny, you can maybe elaborate a bit more. What kind
no,
of is
you
the
go ahead.
Well, because I've never actually seen gameplay on it, and I guess I was just kind of wondering, is it mostly story driven with game? Like, what is the gameplay? Is it a side scroller?
Side-scrolling puzzle game.
Okay, because that's where I was like, I thought I was
Let me
watching
give you-
gameplay, but
Let me give you a sort of a picture of what happened. So the game starts off after you. So think of the dog in the game as sort of the cursor highlight. Whoever the dog is with is who you're playing.
okay,
So and there's even moments where like one guy will be in the foreground, one guy will be in the background, and you'll send the dog in between through like little tunnels, and then whoever the dog is with is who you're controlling. So the game is actually like depending on who you're playing, the game sort of is different. So when I was playing the cook, I had to cook some bratwurst for the German soldiers. So I had to walk into the kitchen and figure out how to turn on the water, pour in the hot dogs, push the thing out, and then we were attacked by artillery fire. And then I had to pull people out of the rubble, sort of get my way out of there. Another time I was playing as the American volunteer soldier. And there I'm running up, I'm cutting wire to help advance. I'm cutting a barbed wire with my wire cutter to help advance the thing. I'm throwing like a grenade to help to blow up a little thing. Sort of that kind of thing. Or when I was the nurse, I was doing a lot of stealth sequences where I'm hiding behind bushes and then I find like a wounded German soldier and I'm performing surgery with some quick time button presses on a little EKG thing. So it sort of changes up, but based on who you are, the puzzles vary differently and your abilities vary differently, but it's a side-scrolling puzzle game that's very respectful to World War One. There's actually a lot of history in that game. Like like when we got to like the
that's what I was
Zeppelin.
interested most. Yeah.
So when we got this like this the Zeppelin, sort of like history of the Zeppelins and use of war, and be like this is what happened to POWs, and to be actual archival footage and pictures. Well, not there was pictures, archival pictures, and so it's like it was interesting because like across from this like was like Sniper Elite and like Call of Duty and all these other things. There's like how many people can I kill in this game? It's like, oh no, this poor soldier, I need to save his life. This poor German, let me pull out these bullets. Oh, he's dying. Let me put in the morphine and bandage him up. And it's like combined with the actual history, it's very respectful, sort of solemn kind of experience, but something that's right up my alley.
Good, because that's a tough thing too. Is you could end up making a game that's trying to tackle this heartfelt.
It's a war game that doesn't glorify war in any way.
Yeah, so it actually takes to heart what was written in those letters, and so that's good to see. And that's I think the biggest thing the reason I wanted to play it was just to hear the stories of these these lost people, people that are no longer around, just to hear kind of straight to the bone what they went through. I think it'll be a good story telling experience.
It's not going to be a good story. Pinocchio Vampire Slayer.
What?
I'm sorry, I was just looking at my Instagram and someone took a picture of a book, Pinocchio Vampire Slayer. And I guess he uses his nose when he tells lies to stake vampires. Terrible.
What?
Oh, that actually, sometimes there's the weirdest things you hear, and it sounds like it'd be awesome, but that's just not one of them. That's just
I
one.
don't think you're a vampire. Blah!
Jace at the side has a question. He says, "Hey guys, I was going to ask this when I was on before. What do you guys think about the next gen release of Grand Theft Auto 5?" I guess I'll start off and say I'm going to be getting it 100%. I will be picking it up just because of how much they put it. I was excited at first for the remastered version of Last of Us until I looked at it and I said, it really doesn't look like they did that much. And especially when you compare it to something like the next Grand Theft Auto 5 re-release, it looks phenomenal. The amount of extra work and extra set production that's been put into it is unreal. And so I will definitely be picking it up on my PlayStation 4 as well. Even though all my friends still play on PS3, I want to re-experience it on the PlayStation 4 because it was a great game to start with. And being able to wake up in fields in a dress as Trevor with actual flowers and wolves running around, I think is going to be a whole nother experience. Now, I don't know if Manny, you don't have any of the current gen consoles, then do you?
No, not yet.
Is there any games that you saw that inspired you to pick up any of the next systems?
Well, I'll say this though. What I can say about the E3 is that it convinced me that the Xbox One's going to be my first choice over the PS4.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Now there's only personally a couple games that I was interested in, and what was good, Microsoft did bring a lot of games to their conference, which was
I think a
great
lot
to
had
hear.
to do with two things. It was the Sony press conference, which I found kind of boring, versus the Microsoft press conference, and the fact that I spent a lot of time with both controllers, and I did not like the PS4 controller as much.
Well, even as a
controller.
Sony guy, I'm gonna have to agree. I'm not a fan of the DualShock 4, mainly because it reminds me of an Xbox controller, though. That's my reasoning.
I just didn't like it. It was weird. Like I played some first-person shooter with it. Can't remember what. Was it Borderlands or something? The pre-sequel. I played enough of them. I just felt kind of awkward to me over time. And then when I went over to I played like Lego Batman 3 on the PS4 and the Xbox One. I just felt more comfortable on the Xbox One.
The Xbox One controllers are far superior to the PS4s. I mean, in terms of feel, grip, even as down to the material that the joysticks are made out of.
And there are like little things that bother me about the controller overall that have been bothering me for a while, like the light bar. I think it's dumb as hell, and I hate how you can't turn it off and it eats the battery. And I'm like the PS4 has a rechargeable lithium-ion battery rather than just a couple of Eneloops I can throw in. I always have like a charged pair of Eneloops ready to go. Just like a lot of little things that sort of added up, and then. Have I looked at I don't know if anyone else. I guess have we done a press conference wrap up? What everyone liked? Well, we haven't asked our new friends Sarah and Zach what they thought of the press conferences. But like when I was watching the Xbox One, there was more at the Xbox thing than there was at the PS4 thing that I care about. And when I walked out of the Sony thing, what I was really thinking is like, man, there are a lot of great games coming to the Xbox One, PC, and iOS later this year.
Yeah, I don't. I think on terms of games. Exclusives. Well, if we look at exclusives, Xbox only came out with I think one more exclusive in total than PlayStation.
Well, it's not about number of exclusives; it's about exclusives you actually care about.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is there was still a couple I didn't have a chance to see yet, but I would honestly say they're on par for me, and that's why I think that before it on last gen. It took me quite a while to get a 360 before I found enough of a library
what were the Sony exclusives that got your attention?
Give me 1 second. I'll grab.
While they're doing that, let's ask our friends. What was your favorite press conference of the show, Sarah and Zach?
I mean, we were talking about Sony versus Nintendo. I would pick Nintendo, but we were talking mostly Microsoft. Sony.
No, whatever you want. Period.
well, then I vote Nintendo, but I did watch a lot, like pretty much the whole Nintendo one, or I keep saying Nintendo because I love it so much. With Microsoft, I was really stoked on the new Playdead title, though, Inside. I don't know if that's exclusive or not, but I'm really excited to play that because they did Limbo, and I love that.
Yeah, with me, when I was looking at the press conferences and stuff, I mean, yeah, obviously Nintendo impressed. I think Nintendo impressed everybody. But
No, not me.
We're talking about exclusives. Exclusive titles, none of the exclusives really actually impressed me all that much. It's all third-party games that I'm actually stoked for, to be honest.
That's what I learned about this E3. Is talking to everyone like you all have different answers. That this E3 was like the first E3 in a while where whoever you want to have won.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Whoever, whatever there was that you're interested in, that won. And that's great though, because I talked to like one person says Nintendo won, one person says Sony won, the other person says Microsoft won. I guess what that's really saying is there's enough of a variety of games to cover enough of a variety of gamers that whatever you're into was satisfied.
Yeah. And I think in the end, what really won is the gamers.
Absolutely. And it sounds cheesy, but it's actually true.
I didn't want to say it, but I think that's...
I think that's great, though, because for me, like, Nintendo was a bit of a snooze fest. And Sony, I was not impressed at all, because everything there I'm probably just going to get on my PC or my iOS device or an Xbox One anyway. Like, 95% of Sony's press conference was stuff that's coming to everything.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and that's why...
I think with the Microsoft issues right now, it's just working in a game store and dealing with customers and problems with Microsoft products has been my biggest issue right now. So I think for me, I'm just like, on being a consumer and seeing the consumer level, I've just seen, like, that's why I played pretty much Xbox 360 last gen. That was my go-to. I got everything on Xbox. Now, I'm all PS4. Like, everything is just, there's nothing about the Xbox One that really has me hyped, right? But regardless, like you said, yeah, there's something coming out on every console for every type of gamer. Whether you're into shooters, whether you're into fighting games, whether you're into JRPGs, North American style RPGs, whatever you want, there's something coming out right now for people to be stoked for. It's a good time in video games. It's great.
Yeah, no, it was funny because I was just looking at before GameStop had an article that linked to 3 of their articles, and each one was why Nintendo won E3, why Microsoft won E3, why Sony won E3. It's just they listed all 3 in one article because they had to write one for each because it was just like kind of a 3-way thing, right?
So like, let me go over quickly, and then we'll get to everyone else. Just the exclusives that I got excited about this year were like, I love Forza Horizon, so Forza Horizon 2 sounds great to me. Sunset Overdrive sounds interesting. I'll probably check that out. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna get the Halo collection's a pretty good deal. And it seems like it'd be a lot of just one of those games you can have on your drive and just play multiplayer with anybody. Let's go play some Halo. Which one? Who cares? We'll put random.
The one thing, actually, though, I'll say, and like I'm a huge Sony fan right now. The one thing that Sony did totally disappoint me with was the lack of Vita content. That really upset me because the Vita is a fantastic system, and right now, other than being a PS1 emulator, it's just an expensive controller to me right now. So I was a little disappointed with Sony with that. They didn't focus enough on the Vita, and like the handheld market is big.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Oh, and like stuff like they had The Witcher at the Microsoft conference, which I really enjoyed, and Call of Duty versus just sort of the stuff like I didn't care about the Uncharted, like whatever. Like if we're gonna go like CG trailer versus CG trailer, I enjoyed the Crackdown CG trailer a lot more than I liked the Uncharted CG trailer. You know what I mean?
Well, on that topic, Jay set the side to everyone. How do you feel about new Uncharted? I mean, I was super impressed, to be honest, with the trailer. If not just for the game itself, but for the fact that games can start to look like that. The fact that I could see a whisker on his face, and that was from Naughty Dog in-game graphics, and they're trying to make it better. The fact that that can be achieved on any system right now it's mind-blowing, and it makes me really excited for the future of games, or sorry, even the present of games, within the next year or two, at least year, because we know everything's coming out in 2015.
Yeah.
But I mean, we haven't, obviously, to answer the question directly, we haven't seen anything else on Uncharted. I'm assuming this is going to be the last Uncharted. judged by the name and the fact that Nathan is older. I suspect a unexpected expected death of Nathan Drake by the end of the series. You know, the story dies with the hero kind of thing. But I'm excited to get my hands on it. Regardless, it's Naughty Gods, so we'll see. But I know, is there anybody else here that plays the Uncharted games religiously like I do?
I think you might be alone on that one, buddy.
Whatever. I'll be alone in my.
I will say that this though is like the most impressive demo. I mean, really, if you want to talk about game of the show, there was from the talk I was hearing on the show floor and from other people, it has to have been these two games, The Witcher and No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. Oh my goodness.
But No Man's Sky even more than The Witcher.
Yeah, No Man's Sky is, as long as I can do it right, has the right kind of ambition. Like, it is such an ambitious project. Zach and Sarah, have you guys know what this is?
No, actually, I'm looking it up right now.
You guys
Charles,
didn't watch the Sony press conference?
Pardon me?
You guys didn't watch the Sony press conference?
Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it. No, I had to sell people.
All right, well, I'm sure there's other people then.
There's a stream, though. You guys can just straight up watch it if you guys missed out on it.
Yeah, I'm
sure it's on YouTube at this point.
I'm sure there's other people then listening that don't know what it is. No Man's Sky is I'm entirely forgetting the developer's name, but they're a small group, and they the idea of this is that it's a completely procedural generated universe that you can fly from planet to planet and have everything entirely different. Every player is started on a completely different planet. And can adventure to these planets with different life forms and different things going on in this world. Now, I haven't seen any more. Is there objective, Manny?
Liar, I did know what I was talking about. I just didn't know the title. And then I saw the artwork. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
The guy said he doesn't want. He was on a few podcasts. And he's like, I don't want to tell you what to do. Sort of just you get to a place, you decide. But there will be. You do have a ground gun. You do have a ground-based weapon. You do have space weapons. You can explore. You can hunt. I don't know. You can build up stuff. You can upgrade your gear. I think you can get into trouble and shoot people. There's going to be bases on some planets. It seems like.
Multiplayer.
What?
Now multiplayer, was this one of those?
Cool.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was ever brought up. If it would be one of those ones where players would just join into the world, but that would be cool. But that's good to know that okay, there's a weapon, so there is stuff to do. I hadn't seen if there's anything to do than just to go to look at things, which would still be fun, but it's nice to actually go and do stuff, right? But No Man's Sky, if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend going. Just go to YouTube, type No Man's Sky, and check out any of the demos that they've shown. It's absolutely.
And the best part is though, it is coming to just about everything, right, under the sun.
Yeah, everything.
I wouldn't be surprised to see like something like this on tablets like in a couple of years. They said, "Hey, we're porting our best game ever."
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Especially with a project like that, you don't want to maintain any exclusivity. You want to get that out to as many people as possible.
I don't know if you guys saw this one at the Microsoft one, but this one is getting a lot of buzz. Was Cuphead?
Cuphead. I didn't actually.
You guys didn't see Cuphead?
Mm-mm.
It looks like a 1920s cartoon.
That sounds interesting. What's the
look
premise?
it up right now, quickly. I'll wait.
Okay.
We
well,
haven't even asked Eric though. Eric, what was your press conference, man?
I mean, the highlights for me is like in a little bit different realm than most of you, but the game that I'm most anticipating is The Evil Within.
I thought yours was Evolve.
But Evolve's a more generalized thing. My three were The Evil Within, Evolve, and Far Cry 4.
Every time I asked what happened at E3 because I worked during all of the press conferences, this guy would just link me to the Evolve trailer.
That's
actually
watch Evolve.
No, that's because if you watch the live stream of the playthrough where they actually had 5 people playing the Evolve, they did 2 different playthroughs. One where one person was a Kraken, and then against the 4 other people, and then I forget what the other monster was the second time. But that game just looks like it is going to be so fun to play with your friends.
That was my next question. I didn't pre-order Evolve because I wanted to know what game or system you guys were getting it on, so that I could.
I have
play
I have an Xbox One and a PS4, so I'm open to whatever you guys, whatever you guys get. But I would prefer Xbox One.
All right.
Or
We'll discuss that.
I'm sure Charles would prefer PC.
That's what I was saying. We
Or
can do
Wii
PC as
U,
well.
but that's never gonna
Oh,
happen.
I did play the Evil Within.
What do you think?
I thought Bethesda was a bust this year. All they had was the Evil Within and Battle Cry. And Battle Cry can best be described as Team Fortress 2, Melee, Steampunk.
And when you say a bust, when we're talking about Evil Within, I'm assuming you don't have too many amazing things to say about it.
It was a bad theater presentation, and the Evil Within. It wasn't that scary. The best way I was describing it, or like talking about with people afterwards, I played the demo with was it's like they were masquerading the game. Like what I actually played was not interesting or all that fun, and it felt like they were trying to hide that under a veneer of ooh, it's spooky. There's things jumping out at you, and yeah, because like we thought about like, okay, forget the spookiness, forget the stuff jumping out, forget the atmosphere and the music. Is what you actually played interesting or fun? And we're like, no, actually it wasn't. Bethesda's done bad demos before. Like, for example, their E3 Wolfenstein demo was garbage. And a lot of people walked away from Bethesda that year thinking, like, Wolfenstein is going to be crappy. It looks so bad. And then it came out.
Pretty good.
And it's, like, amazing.
Yeah, Wolfenstein's pretty good.
So
I'm
it
just
could be a bad demo.
Yeah, I'm just not going to listen to what you said about the demo.
No. Let me put it this way. It's okay. Companies have bad demos all the time.
No, I just have such high hopes, and typically we agree on a lot of stuff. So I don't know. I'm just gonna.
I thought Sleeping Dogs demo at E3 was garbage, and that game turned out great. Everyone thought Wolfenstein was garbage at E3, and just listening to people come out, I was like, that game didn't play very good. And then it came out, it's great. So it can still change, but it felt like.
I just don't want. I was just what I was hoping the most is that they didn't turn it into like an Eternal Darkness, type game where like you're going insane as the game is progressing because things are getting crazier and creepier, and
I think Jeff Gertzman from Giant Bomb said it best. Like when Resident Evil was hitting big, there were a lot of also ran survival horror games, and this feels like one of those also rans. Like
I mean, all I wanted was a Silent Hill Resident Evil hybrid. That's all I wanted.
Okay, I guess it's that. You never said anything about quality, though, right?
Then I'm happy.
You never said anything about quality, though, so I think you'll get what you want.
No, fuck quality. I don't care.
All right, then you'll be satisfied.
All right.
Like I said, no. I mean, I played great demos at E3, and the games turned out garbage. I played bad demos at E3, and the games turned out, you kind of don't know with these vertical slices.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like Shadow of Mordor, it could have been I could have played the best part of that game for an hour, and then when the rest of it comes in, you're like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
While we're on Eric, then at the side there, Jace actually says, "Eric, you are my fave." And my question to you got a fan. My question to you is, do you like the graphics for NHL 15?
Yeah, the graphics look absolutely mind-blowing. What they have done with their with the two new engines that they have built in, the one for the environment and the other one for the players, is supposed to be crazy. They have like multi 3-layer technology or whatever built into like their uniform, just in their uniform mechanics, to where like you'll actually see like their jerseys get tucked into their pants when they like move around and come untucked, and I mean, very, very tiny little features that I don't think you'll even probably notice in the game, but just that they're going to that extent.
The fact that they can do that now is...
Yeah, it's nuts, dude. I mean, you look at like Frogger and then like where we are now, it's just absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, graphically, I think with the new puck engine too that they have, where their puck's gonna move all crazy and there's gonna be chips in the ice that's gonna Yeah, it's going to be really. I think it's going to be the best EA. I think it's going to be better than Madden, which is saying a lot, but I think playability-wise, it's going to be better.
Hockey games have come a long way since Pong.
They're it's a completely separate team, and I've always liked the NHL team. I mean, partial bias because I like hockey, but I've always thought the EA hockey team, NHL team has always been a solid team, makes solid games. So I'll definitely pick that one up. It would be nice to see a next gen sports game, right? Besides FIFA.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And then one more from Jace before we move on there. He says, how do you feel about this year's GameStop convention and what we'll be seeing there this year?
Dude, I don't know. Does news even come out of that for us?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even going to lie. I didn't even realize there was a GameStop convention.
It's like the managers get it together in one place, and people come there and show them games.
Anaheim. That's on September 10th.
Oh, so do they get like pre-playability?
I have no clue.
I mean, because I would assume that they have to be knowledgeable on all games, pretty much, if you work there. Or do you just bullshit your way? Like, if somebody asks you about a game, say, yeah, that was great. You should buy it.
Based on my experiences, the second one.
Get the disc protection.
What was that?
Get the disc protection for $3.
Yeah, it's always a good idea.
On EV game, they don't let me leave until I get the disc protection. I remember last time we were there, I was buying Symphonia Chronicles, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you should get the disc protection on this game." And I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "Well, like the Xbox can, the PS3, like, sometimes it can scratch up your games." I'm like, "Oh, the PS3 does that?" They're like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna buy it then." They're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Why am I gonna buy a product that's just to be broken?" They're like, "Well, no, it'll work." I'm like, "Oh, so I don't need the disc protection then."
That's right.
Remember they sell protection for your cartridges because on the DS cartridges, the metal contacts could corrode.
Mm-hmm.
I actually
like
had
if you urinated on it for like 3 hours, it could corrode eventually.
Yeah, like it's a protection just in case you're an idiot.
I mean, I don't mind EB games I go to. I never, if they just say, "Hey, do you want disc protection?" I say no. They're like, "Okay, cool. This is your total."
That's what it should be. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the EB I go to. That's the way they've always worked, and they've always done, and that's why I still go to that one.
You guys still have EB games?
Yeah, they switched it over to GameStop, then they switched it back to EB Games for some unknown reason.
No, some of them turned into GameStop, and are still GameStop, but some of them never changed.
I'm not sure they changed back after they changed to GameStop.
The ones at Fairview never changed.
I know the one at Fairview never changed, but the one at Conestoga Mall changed from EB Games to GameStop, and I'm pretty sure it's now EB Games again.
Yeah,
Correct.
probably. It's brand recognition, when people in Canada see that it's GameStop, like, what's this? I don't know what this is anymore. But it was funny though because the other day I bought Tomodachi Life, and the guy said, "Do you want to get game protection to protect from scratch?" Oh wait, this is a cartridge, and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't need it." Then he's like, "No, you probably don't." And then it just went on for their day. That's why I like those guys because they don't actually like try to force it into your face. But yeah, from the convention, I don't know if we'll see anything interesting. Again, I didn't even know it was going on.
I think where I live, GameStop is a dying breed because Los Angeles is one of the few areas that has like 7-day-a-week Amazon shipping. So
yeah,
and the games are cheaper too.
With the drones soon, you're going to be getting within 12 hours shipping.
No, I don't think we'll ever get drone delivery here, but we do have like the Amazon Fresh trucks that also deliver groceries. But Amazon's basically saying never leave your house. Why are you leaving your house?
So weird, dude.
I need to move to LA.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a shitty internet there though.
No, that's fine.
And the way you can't drink the water.
You guys can't play Uplay.
No, it depends where you're talking about the Ubi servers. Oh, that's different. We'll survive without those. It's okay.
Yeah, but how are you supposed to play Watch Doge?
Watch. Sorry. Back to the games that I was excited for from Sony. We have Little Big Planet 3. Oh my gosh, who can't be excited about that? They've introduced new characters.
Are you joking? What? I was so bored. I was sitting next to somebody, and as the people kept on messing up and dropping down, I'm like, "Oh, this is embarrassing."
No, that was the best part, is because it's like anybody can play it but still get through it and have fun with it. The best part of that game is messing with your friends and trying to kill them, even though they're trying to team with you.
So how's Mario Kart 8 then?
Awful.
Yeah. I'll have to go into a rant about that. Zach and Sarah have also already heard a little bit of my myself on that.
What the fuck did they do with the battle system in that game? It's so stupid.
It's like they didn't even care.
Like, they
hey,
didn't
we're
give-
gonna make a battle cart. We're gonna make a
Like,
battle
dude,
system, and
No, what it was
and
is
we're
like
just
they
gonna put it on a track, and it'll be
Yeah.
okay. That's how
they
battles
legit
work, right?
spent they spent 99% of their time on the game, and then like before they went to press them, they're like, oh fuck, we forgot to do the multiplayer, and like some
Battle.
guy in the fucking janitor's closet did it in like 20 minutes on a calculator. and that was it.
On one of those fancy Texas instruments like the
Yeah, it
TI
was-
80
yeah,
something
It was
or
a
whatever.
TI-80. Yeah,
It's a graphing
for sure.
calculator.
You know,
Yeah, I
what,
can
you know what bothers me? I'll say the one thing that's funny is that bothers me about this podcast is sometimes people have a tendency to say, "Who doesn't love this?" And like I'm sitting here going, "I don't," and you guys make me feel like such a naysayer jerk because it's like, no, I'm just not into that one particular theme that you love, and now I'm I don't like that. I'm Scrooge McDuck, and I don't like anything.
And that's exactly why I did that to Brody just now.
I think that's almost why I've done it sometimes, because I know that's what it ends up being. But no, with Little Big Planet, I've always enjoyed it, man. Some of my best moments or memories have been sitting around with my friends, having some drinks, and just playing this, trying to mess with each other, just having
I thought
good
you were
old
going to do
hearted.
like a racist apology for a second. Some of my best friends are Little Big Planets.
You can't hate on them. But I like the fact that Little Big Planet 2 felt a little stale to me. And what I like about Little Big Planet 3 is that they're throwing in new types of characters. You know, you've got the flying one, the one that changes size, and then the dog that can wall jump. It's adding new dynamics into the game. And for a game that I've already loved, having just, again, Little Big Planet 2, a little stale because it was more of the same thing. But this is completely changing just the way you're going to play the game. And I'm excited for that because I enjoy the game, and having new ways to play it is always a plus. So for myself, Little Big Planet. Then we also had Entwined. Looked like a nice little game that uses. I thought it was interesting how they use both analog. It's going to be a hard game. Use both analog sticks to control two different fairies, I guess they are, that you have to go through and hit patterns on this tube pathway, and at the end turn into a dragon, I guess. But it looks like it's going to be hard, and that's what I'm actually interested in.
That is also coming to tablets.
Oh, and I can actually totally see how that would work with tablets too.
Okay.
That makes sense. That's cool. Any way I can get my hands on, I'm just interested in the game.
You know, I know it sounded like it was a facetious joke I was making earlier about like when I said at the end of the show, I said, "Wow, there are a lot of great games coming to all these other platforms," but that's actually how I felt when I came out. I was like, "Oh, there's a bunch of great games coming out to everything that everyone gets to enjoy later." You know.
Yeah. Well, and that's what as we've said, it's us that have won, because we get games regardless. And that, I was just saying, from what it looks like now, that's an exclusive, but I was excited for it. Not too interested in Bloodborne. It looks more of like a Dark Souls thing. Graphics look great, but if it's a Dark Souls thing, I'm not.
It is like it is the Dark Souls from the guy who originally made Dark Souls.
Yeah, well, there you go. One that I can tell you I am most excited about, obviously besides Uncharted, is Abzu. As we know, that game company is my all-time favorite development company. And they made games like Flow, Flower, and Journey. Actually, there's only games they made. And one of the guys that, or I think a couple of the people, left and started up their own game company. And they're the ones that made Journey, and they're making a new one called Abzu, which is an underwater kind of journey, I guess. It's following the same themes of Journey, and it looks very, very atmospheric. And what I love about those games is these guys make games that are not based off emotion, but are emotion. The games just encapsulate an emotion, and that's what you're experiencing the whole time. And it looks like this whole serene underwater world that you play through in the same way you did with Journey, whereas you don't necessarily know what's happening. You just have to kind of make the story for yourself. So if you guys, also just a recommendation, if you guys haven't played any games by that game company, specifically Flower and Journey, you really need to go play those games because they're absolutely phenomenal games. But Abzu, I don't know if you saw that at all.
I thought that was one of the more impressive things I saw at the show. I won't lie. I think Flower is boring, but Abzu looks great.
Yeah,
Looks like it'll launch in 2016 though.
Way too far, but whatever. I as long as I get it, that's okay. I'm super stoked for that. And what else was there? We had another exclusive that I wasn't. Order 1886. I need to see more on it to get super excited about it. Like, it looks great.
It was playable on the show floor, and I walked past it and like, I should play that, and then I kept walking.
Yeah, it's the thing about the game is it's strange. Like, I want to like it, but I don't know if I do yet.
Well, it'll probably be a good test is when you can actually play it.
Well, that's the thing. Hopefully, we'll get a demo for it.
I don't know if I'd like this based on the videos I've seen.
That's the thing is I want to play it. I figure it'll probably be fun. I do like. I like.
Oh, did you say Abzu is that game company?
No, no, it's a couple guys that left that game company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 505 Games.
I was about to say because that's coming to PC as well. So.
Great. That game company is exclusive. Yeah, no, I'm super stoked for Abzu.
Yeah, Abzu is not exclusive, so even if you don't gonna get it on PC, I mean on PS4, you'll still be able to play it. Good.
Yeah. Well, there we go. But besides those, again, I most of my my favorite games, came from. Well, Destiny obviously is apparently going to be better on the PS4. But honestly, before this E3. The stuff I'd seen on Destiny, I was not interested at all until I found out that it was open world, and then that sparked my interest.
It's not. I wouldn't quite say open world, more open zone.
Okay, yeah, but still, it's still not the linear shooter that I thought it was going to be.
Oh no, that game is an MMO.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's everything. I guess no one realized that. Everyone thought it was Borderlands Halo, but it's Borderlands
exactly
Halo,
what I thought it was.
World of Warcraft.
They had a Wii U syndrome where they didn't know how to market properly. and I think that was the issue. Now that I've seen more,
it is straight up an MMO. There's a hub world where you go get quests. It is always online. People are dropping in and out. It's like Phantasy Star Online, but like with a little bit more people. It like straight up. It's like it is a MMO. So
yeah, now I'm more excited.
MMOs or not? So.
Really, you should stay away from MMOs, man. They'll suck you in, man. They'll suck you in. I know how you are with video games as it is, man. You get into an MMO, we'll never see you again.
what MMO are you playing at the moment? I know you're
FF14, Realm Reborn.
Oh yeah, that's what you're saying at the beginning.
Really good. I'm really excited too with the new patch notes. They added the Rogue and the Ninja coming up, and which completes the original Final Fantasy lineup too. I thought it was weird that they weren't in the pilot release of the game, but yeah, it's cool, man. It's a lot of fun. I came from playing World of Warcraft. I played that for like 6 years, off and on though. Like, that's the thing with an MMO, right? It is what you make it. As long as it doesn't consume your life, it's a lot of fun, right? If I play MMOs when there's nothing really out at the time that I'm really interested in, I'll buy a subscription for a month and play the hell out of it for a month. But Final Fantasy 14, they take a lot of the good aspects of World of Warcraft, but it's a lot more serious in nature. The artwork is a lot better. I mean, it's Final Fantasy, right? So if you're a fan of the Final Fantasy series, there's going to be a lot of throwbacks to some of the older games. And yeah, it's a super solid game. I'm really excited for the new patch notes and stuff. So, but again, time consuming, man. The amount of time that I've sunk into that game already, it's astronomical.
Now, Eric, you're our resident Final Fantasy guy. Have you played Realm Reborn?
Yeah, but you know what? I'm not like a big fan of the open world. Again, like, yeah, I'm the Final Fantasy guy, but I'm also like, the big retro guy as well. So I kind of mentioned it before and hit on it before. I can appreciate games. I thought 10 was phenomenal. 7, 8, 9 were all great as well. 5 and 6 were awesome. But once you start to get past the 13-2 and Lightning Returns and all that stuff, it just dropped off for me, like hardcore.
So I have to ask you, man, in 20 years, will you like those games?
Probably.
Will they be retro enough in 20 years?
It's not.
Once they hit
It's
that
not
point, I love
about the. It's not about like what's retro because I think it's cool. It's like what it is for Brody too. Like I have a lot of fond memories of Final Fantasy when I was a kid, like that and Dragon Warrior. You know, like those were games that when they first came out on the Nintendo, really captivated me and what genuinely kept my interest in video games to where it wasn't just a mind-numbing thing to get away from when you weren't playing outside with your friends. You know, that there were actually stories that could be told through video games instead of just, you know, jumping a frog across the street or, you know, hitting a ball back and forth between two paddles. Like, you know, so to answer the question in short, I mean, because I could go on forever, like once Final Fantasy turned into open world and they lost the active time battles and, you know, that was the first step for me that kind of, you know, sunk it down. And then, like I was saying before, with 13, I actually didn't mind that battle system because, yeah, it was kind of like a button masher at times, but there was a lot of thought that needed to go into the different paradigms that you needed to use for specific bosses and when you're farming and certain enemies and stuff like that. So I thought it was interesting and cool. I liked some of the characters in 13. I thought it was captivating. I hated Hope. I thought Snow.
He's a kid, man. He's a 13-year-old punk. When I was 13, I was whiny.
You know what? Like, I mean, Hope had his
just like Hope.
All right.
So are you saying we don't like him because all 13-year-olds are whiny?
No, but here's the
or should
thing.
we just say maybe I like hanging around 13-year-olds?
Right, but I love Titus, and everybody hates him. So.
Oh, that scene. Everyone makes fun of that scene.
I think the character in the Final Fantasy series that everybody hates is Squall.
No,
Yeah.
it's Titus, dude.
Yeah,
Titus
no,
is the
no.
worst.
I hate Squall more than Titus.
Titus and Protus,
Is there an
like
answer D, all of the above?
Well, half of Squall's lines are literally just ellipsis.
Yeah, it's like, are you going to be emo, or are you just not going to say anything at all? Those are your two options. Like, but, yeah, no, I'd like to see, I mean, that's the thing, right, is that everybody, I mean, there's always going to be talk of the FF7 remake, and it's never going to happen, because for me, like you were saying, all the games that you mentioned, other than 8, to me, were fantastic games. 8 was good, don't get me wrong. The story was a little bit weird. Like, you get to the
totally
point where
agree.
it's like, oh, I hate everybody, and then all of a sudden, I'm in love with Rhinoa, she's my life. Like, where the hell did that come from?
Right.
But with FF, like, you know, like all the previous installments, like FF4, for example, is a masterpiece. Like, that game is so simple, but the story is actually so in depth when you get down to it. And I mean, yeah, like that's the thing. It's like the new Final Fantasies and new Square Enix games, like altogether, all the like the RPGs are just they're weird and convoluted and overly complicated for the sake of being overly complicated, and they don't need to be. That's why, I don't know, even something as simple as the FF7 G-Bike coming out to Android and iOS, I'm super pumped for that, because literally that's the closest I'm going to get to an FF7 remake.
Like, I totally agree with you, and I think 8 was probably the most subpar of the ones that I mentioned as well. I thought 9's storyline was absolutely awesome, just absolutely amazing. I mean, you couldn't write a better, you know, plot line with Vivi, and just the whole, you know, coming into his own and realizing that, you know, he's more than just, you know, just a simple black mage robot, you know, kind of thing. And I don't know, I just thought that was really cool. But getting back to what I was saying was, like, you could take a game, like, I would be completely content if you took Mario Kart 64 and you just released Mario Kart 64 for the next 10 years, just with different levels and a little bit of tweaking here and there. I would buy it, and every fucking Nintendo fan would buy it too. Like, you don't need to go crazy with adding all this ridiculous shit into these games that overcomplicate it and make them unplayable. Like, at times, it's stupid.
I don't know. I didn't find that with Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 to me seems super simple. I like jump
multiplayer. Now I have to play Mario Kart 64 to get a decent fucking multiplayer. You know?
No, that's like battle mode. Yes, battle mode is broken. I'm not gonna argue with you on that one. Battle mode is broken. I played it. I was like, what the hell is this? But when it comes to just the racing aspect of it, like which is, you know, what Mario Kart's about, is the racing. It's great, man. The response time is wicked. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with it.
Brody's gonna have comments about the DS.
Brody's gonna break you in half.
Alright, obviously, I'm not going to change anybody's mind, but before we get on to the next bits, I'm going to let you know what I finally think, now that I've played Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart has changed from focusing on player skill to focusing on items. It's all about the items, and it's not about player skill anymore. The games are rubber banded to shit. It doesn't matter how far I get in front of the CPU, they're catching up. I could be in line. I've tested this. I've deliberately put myself in last place just to use an item, get to first place within 5 seconds. It doesn't matter about player skill anymore. It's all about the items. And that's my issue.
Karts, though. All the Mario Karts I've ever played, including Mario 64,
Blue Shell.
were like that. With the new Mario Kart 8, there was plenty of times where I was playing on 150 cc's and I bombed past first place, and literally I could get hit by, 3 banana peels, and I'm still in first place. So
what I liked about some of the older games, like you look at Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart DS, you could dodge blue shells.
Right?
Yeah, you
can
could.
do that in the new one. You can do that in Mario Kart 8.
If you have enough skill to do it.
Yeah, Mario
But you
Kart.
just said it had no skill because it's rubber banded. Like
Mario Kart 8.
In Mario Kart DS, you could dodge the blue shells.
In Mario Kart 8, you can do it too.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to show me that because as of yet, I don't know.
It's not as cut and dried as you think it is. It's Mario Kart, man. Like it's one of those games.
I'll give it more time, but as of yet, has not lived up to any of the past games.
And you know what?
I'll let you guys show me.
It's because you're getting old, like me, man. Final Fantasy 4 for me. Like that's the thing, right? As I'm becoming one of those old man guys, it's like even with music, I'm like, oh, everything that comes out is garbage. This all sucks. Like you're gonna get
How
that
old are you, man?
nostalgia.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay. You're still too young for that kind of old cynicism, but still. At least you're older than Brody, who doesn't even. Brody doesn't even know what Ghostbusters is.
We got hey.
Yeah, Brody's never fucking seen Ghostbusters 1 or 2.
He's never seen Back to the Future either.
Ghostbusters 1.
that's a sin.
No, I've seen the first Back to the Future, and I saw the first Ghostbusters.
Okay, I haven't seen Back to the Future.
Brody, how many
What?
Back to the Futures are there?
Oh
3,
my god.
4, 3.
He said 4. He said 4. Fire him out of a cannon.
3. I said 3.
How many
And then
Indiana
I
Joneses are
said
there?
4, but then I said 3.
So what happens at the end of Back to the Future 1?
Oh, I don't remember. I just remember time travels.
God, dude.
I watched it when I was like 11.
Oh my god.
Fired.
I gotta go.
Okay, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
And
Video
I
games.
thought I was the guy that has never seen any movies or TV shows or anything.
Video games.
Oh, yeah. All right, back on track. Yeah.
A couple more I personally want to hit on, and then if there's anything left you guys want to hit on. I want to get touching on Hardline, Battlefield Hardline. Manny has been gracious, so gracious to give me a code so that I've been able to jump it into the beta on the PS4 and play with it. There, that's actually my code right there. It's been unlocked, so you can show it. Doesn't matter. Battlefield Hardline, and I guess I'll 2 points. One, I'm not super impressed with what I've played so far. Obviously, beta, it's going to change, and we're there to test it out. I think what it comes down to is a lot of people nowadays expect betas to be demos, and I think that's where a lot of this...
They've ruined the word beta and alpha. They don't mean anything anymore.
Exactly, and I think that's where a lot of this. You go anywhere online, you see a crap ton of cynicism.
Like when people say you're in the Destiny alpha, bullshit. That game is done. The fuck are you talking
Well,
about?
exactly. The alpha
And alpha's like wireframes and like 3 character models moving around.
Yeah, and it's what I've played so far though does follow the cynicism, but I'm going to keep in mind that of course this is a beta. Lots of things can change, but the multiplayer aspect of it is point one. Feels like a mod. It feels like something that you could get out of a Battlefield community for free. And they're going to be slapping $60 on it, while in Canada, $70. But we do have to keep in mind there's going to be that single-player aspect that's going to be made by Visceral. And thank you, Manny, for reminding me of that, because I entirely forgot with my cynicism in front of my face. But there is going to be that single-player aspect by Visceral, and we know Visceral can make good games. So I'm kind of excited to see what the single player. I will be buying this game for single player, and that's not something you can say about Battlefield as of late, that you're going to be buying the game for single player. But I will be buying, if I do, be buying Battlefield Hardline for its single player mode. And if the multiplayer is any good, then I'll play it. But as of now, I'm not impressed.
Well, like I said, we haven't seen all the modes and we haven't seen all the maps, and I'm sure certain modes are better for certain maps. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly. Right now, it just feels bare, and of course,
yeah,
it's
I noticed that
limited.
too when I was playing as well on the show floor. Is that there weren't that many people because people are dropping out constantly to go play other games, and that's totally cool. I mean, like I said, I want to try the episodic visceral single player, and if there's a decent if there are full games, I'll jump in every now and then, jump on a motorcycle, and go shoot up some LA popos. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, and as long as they don't stick to that 4-hour campaign mode formula, I think we'll be good. We can expect at least something good out of it, right?
Yeah, but like we haven't even seen the bank heists. We haven't seen any of the smaller maps where we were trying to breach. There was not much use for the grappling hooks. We haven't seen the open one where you're racing against the cops, sort of like border patrol versus the cartels.
So
we haven't seen any of the helicopter stuff yet. There's a lot of stuff.
Grand Theft Auto 5 still has a chance to get heists out before Battlefield Hardline.
I think at this point we should never expect to see heists ever.
Well, we were joking that instead Grand Theft Auto 5 on next gen is going to come with a code for Hardline, so you can play heists in that instead.
It just lays you boots up Hardline. But yeah, no, it's right now. I'm gonna try to play more, and I think the biggest issue is I've never been a fan of the new, like Battlefield 3. I played a bit of Battlefield 4, didn't even touch. I just wasn't interested at all. The last good Battlefield I played, I think, was Bad Company,
which isn't even really. It's still an offshoot, and a more Call of Duty-like Battlefield experience.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why I liked it. But the game feels still though as if it still plays exactly like it played in those earlier games, Battlefield 3 and Bad Company, and it feels. I guess that's the Battlefield feel. To me, it's not something that I'm super interested in. And as you said with the grappling hook, I had to try to find excuses to use the grappling hook. Like I'm shooting it at a wall to climb up, even though I know I'm gonna get sniped in 2 seconds. I just wanted to use it. There was no actual use. I think the modes they gave us right now weren't really the best interpretations of the game.
Well, that's the question though. Is it I guess it's their own fault too because they wanted to have something at the Sony conference. But are you actually testing server load and the kind of stuff you need to do with it, or is it just a glorified demo?
And I think
if it is a server test, you shouldn't position it as a glorified demo either.
No, and that's almost seems to be again, as you said, the lines are really blurred. It seems to be an issue determining whether this is a demo or a beta, because if it's a demo, it's a real shit demo, and it's not a good game if this is what they're trying to represent their game as.
I thought it was fine. I had fun when I played it. Like you said repeatedly, Battlefield style controls and gameplay is just not your thing. So
yeah, and
even if this game is great,
you
could still just not like it though. You know?
Yeah, but I will keep in mind, as my second point was there, that if I'm going to be getting this game, it's most likely going to be for the single player mode.
But the single player will have the same kind of shooting and controls, so.
Oh, and I won't mind. That's the thing is, I won't mind that. It's just if I'm playing a multiplayer game, and there's no story to back up anything that's going on, you need to have good game mechanics and controls that pull me in. And if they're not doing that, then there's nothing going for me. But if you have a good story pulling me in, I can live with that. That's the game. You know, these are the controls, and this is how the story plays out. But if that story can keep me pulled in, I'm gonna take it. You know, if there's at least one driving factor, I'm gonna be interested. But right now, for me, there's nothing. But
I hear you.
Yeah. And there was one more I think I wanted to touch on, but I totally forgot what it is now. So I'm gonna have to look. Threes. You said you played Threes. Now I've sunk a crap ton of time in Threes, and it's coming to the Xbox One now.
You didn't watch the press conference, man?
I honestly didn't. I just seen the summary of it.
What's wrong with
I
you?
I was in bed and I forgot to wake up in time.
You know they this isn't like the 1950s. You can watch these things again later.
What?
I know, and I
How?
actually
You have to wait for the book to come out.
the book,
Yeah, you gotta wait for the book to come out.
I thought they printed it in the newspaper the next day.
the monthly magazine.
Yeah, did you hear Nintendo's releasing a new white PlayStation?
I did actually see that. That's it was the New York Times, I think it was.
It was the LA Times.
The LA Times. Yeah, apparently, if you didn't read it, and it's not like they just blundered the headline that said Nintendo has a white PlayStation coming out. It was throughout the entire article. They said Nintendo is making a white PlayStation.
Like I said, it's funny. People keep on saying the E3 is for the mainstream media, but it's clear the mainstream media doesn't really give a shit at all, in the least.
No, and
This
that's
was like the most basic fact checking. That the LA Times is a good paper, you know. It's like the New York Times equivalent, but they still sort of just like, who cares?
Yeah.
Not
and
care.
I just kind of wanted to ask you, Manny, though, what being there now that it's over, what was your overall just feel for this E3? I know you've been to a few.
Everyone I talked to, it felt light.
Yeah.
Just light in general.
Just kind of like here's everything. We're not going to
Like, for example, there were a lot of booths there that were placeholder booths. That seems
Really?
weird, though. You don't want to lose your booth next year if you do have something to show. So, for example, the Square Enix had nothing new, or they had games that were coming out in a week, or that were already out. Konami had nothing. It was just this massive booth with a carpet and walls and a tiny little theater demo of the Phantom Pain. It was just that was the show in a nutshell. It was a lot of just a dead space or empty space, and a lot of placeholder booths, and a lot of.
Yeah, that Dead Space 4 confirmed.
Did I say Dead Space 4?
No,
You
said
just
there
had a
was
lot of dead space.
Oh yes.
Love that.
Even the EA booth, it was kind of just like half the booth was dedicated to Titanfall. No,
That's great.
because they had like a new mode for Titanfall, and that game's already out.
Don't they understand how these conferences work? They're supposed to like announce new things.
But everything's from 2015 to 2016.
Blows and no one cares about it.
Oh right, no, they're not making games this year. That's right.
It was just light. It was whatever.
Yeah, I'm wondering, do you think they're waiting for, TGS and stuff like that? To come
No,
around?
E3's been on a bit of a decline for a while. It kind of just feels like business as usual, to be perfectly honest with you. Not an off year. Just sort of like this is sort of what E3 is now.
Yeah. Now, is it just conventions in general, or is it just it's moving away from that E3 kind of?
Well, it's different things though. There's so many other conventions going on. You don't need to announce your stuff at E3 anymore. I mean, if you're Sony, you want to hold a press conference to announce whatever you want to announce. People are going to come to that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at everything was announced the week before too, so they wouldn't get lost in the E3 like glut of news.
And now I'm wondering, do you think maybe that's why Nintendo decided to move to that direct?
They didn't need the press conference. They missed nothing from the press conference. They spoke to their audience directly, and the media still wrote articles about it too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering. Do you think that's the way it's going to go from now? Is that people are going to start live streaming? Maybe,
but remember, a lot of these stuff they're like sort of grandfathered into these positions. So if you give them, some of them don't want to give it up.
Yeah, it's true.
So
I think what's cool is that just to add on to the fact that again you said you didn't like, but from consensus it seems a lot of people in this area think that Nintendo definitely took that E3, but it seems like they're definitely stepping up, and they're going back to what they were before. And I think just to start it off was innovating, just even at the convention by not doing a press conference but having their direct.
I wouldn't necessarily call it innovation, but
not innovation, but ahead of what's about to happen. They're stepping ahead of the times.
I think they have their own business reasons to do it too. Why spend all that money when they don't get much out of it? Like every year, going to the Nintendo press conference was zero difference from watching it on a live stream. Microsoft was kind of the same way. Like most of press conferences are, there's there's very little reason to be there versus watching a live stream. The Giant Bomb people had it right. They stayed in a nice room all day. They watched them on a live stream and they put their heads in the corner and commented over it. Yeah, they had it right.
Yeah.
There's no reason to really go to any of those press conferences live.
Well, to the press conferences, yeah. I mean, being on the show floor and you get to actually demo stuff, see stuff that you're not going to see.
Like I would say this too, though. E3 and the show floor, you don't get to see very much. It's all everything that's important or really matters is mainly behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense. And
that's
again,
why so many people had like those Skylanders free figures or the Disney Infinity free figures because they had enough free time to stand in line for 3 to 4 hours for a free piece of plastic garbage.
Yeah, and that's why I've never worried about trying to get out to those shows because I can watch the live streams and I'm seeing everything that everybody's seeing.
Well,
anyway.
let me put it this way: if you're working the show properly, though, honestly, you don't even spend that much time on the show. Like on Tuesday of the show floor, or was it Wednesday? On Wednesday, I spent maybe an hour on the show floor. I was always upstairs or in a meeting hall. I barely spent any time walking around doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you're gonna say, Eric?
No, I just said that I was trying to keep up with you on Twitter a little bit, but it seemed like it was just kind of chaos there. I don't know, from the perspective that I was getting from most people was that it seemed a little bit less organized, I guess, than last year. And I have to sneeze. Hold on. Never mind. All right. I hate that. The one thing that I took away from watching online, as opposed to, I guess, being there, was that I didn't like the setup this year where they were like interviewing everybody like in these little corners, and the people that they had doing the interviews were such fucking idiots. Like, I don't know who they were or where they got them from, and I don't know if anybody else can relate, but they were the most annoying people. They had like no sense of humor. Just very dry. I don't know. It just kind of took away from me. I was just used to everything being like on the big main stage being presented, and now you pull everything aside to this little couch where you're talking. I mean, it's a little bit more intimate, but at the same time, it's like you want that grand, kind of hoopla.
But what couch though? For who? You talking about like the GameSpot stage of old or something?
Or that was probably the Twitch stream that he was watching.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, right. The Twitch stream kind of kept everything like, in between like the big presentations and stuff. They just pulled everything to the side. Stuff that they would have had on the main stage last year was now.
Are you talking about the press conferences or the show floor?
Not the press conferences. I'm talking about like the show floor stuff.
We have to remember though, there was like no Twitch stream a few years ago. There was no main stage. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. I just thought it wasn't presented as well online as it was last year.
Yeah. What was I going to say now? Yeah, I mean, from looking from the live stream, I thought it was exciting. Twitch has some stuff to do on their live stream. Some of the guys they had on there weren't that personable, right? So it's what was that?
I said that's an understatement.
Yeah, some of those guys were just like, oh, why did they even get on screen? But I'm sure it'll get better. But so it's hard to judge. I like what the Nintendo did with their Treehouse. Their live stream, they on Twitch was they were on the show floor. They had that buzz and excitement you could hear in the background while they were demoing stuff. They had people playing the games while they were talking about them. So it was a lot more. It had that intimate factor, but still like you were on the show floor with them, demoing those games. So I liked, again, just adding to the fact, I liked what Nintendo did this year in that respect. Now, there's a couple other news pieces that happened this week that I want to get on. But I'm going to just go by each of you and see if there's anything else that you guys were excited for. Charles, is there anything else that really really caught your attention that you're excited looking forward to in any of those compressed conferences that you watched?
Things that I was interested in. Well, there was the new Witcher game, which I'd like to play. There was Evolve, which seems like it's going to be pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for summarizing E3 in a single trailer, Eric.
Yeah.
4 times.
I wanted to make sure you saw it.
Oh yeah. I'll probably play the Borderlands game when it comes out.
Which one?
The pre-sequel, not the Telltale games. Like
I saw that one. It looks decent.
Other than that, I'll buy the Legend of Zelda game when it comes out. Not necessarily Hyrule Warriors, but the Skyrim one.
Mhm.
Skyrim one. Air quotes. Just looking at the list here. I'm not really. There's not very much to look forward into games right now because everything's in 2015. So.
Right.
Well, except
Yeah.
no, Witcher's even in 2015. So why do I care?
All right, and then Manny, if you just because I didn't see the MS conference, you just want to wrap up kind of the exciting high points then from the MS conference for me.
I thought it was all good. There was no. I mean, it was just a solid hour of games. That's why I thought you should have watched it, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that later again. I honestly have not had the time in the past week to give the whole. I want to watch the whole thing, not just the abridged version. So I will just. There was nothing. I heard though they didn't mention the cloud once, and so that was a lot.
Games, man.
A lot different. Yeah, so that's good that they're bringing games just like they said they would. So and then just I'm gonna just kind of wrap up some of the things I saw on the Sony conference. PlayStation Now is going to be available at the end of July to everybody as an open beta. So everyone's going to be able to test games in that. It looks like subscriptions or game purchases, are going to be anywhere between $2 and $30. It'll range. PlayStation Now, in case you don't know, is their streaming service, kind of like OnLive. It's what Gaikai was, and has now been named to PlayStation Now. But that'll be available on the PS Vita. So there, Zach, talking about more PS Vita games, you'll have PlayStation Now, so you'll be able to play PS3 games and that's on your PS Vita as well too. So it just increases the library. We had PS Vita TV coming.
PlayStation TV though.
Or well, they have PlayStation TV, which is just TVs with PlayStation Now built in.
No. It's called the Vita TV is called the PlayStation TV.
Okay, what are they going to brand it? Because they also have, maybe it's just Bravia TVs, but they have Bravia TVs coming that
with
have
PlayStation
Now.
Integrated.
Yes. So you could actually just buy a TV with PlayStation Now integrated and buy a DualShock 3 controller and play games on your TV without even needing a system. But I think the fact that, the PS Vita, the PlayStation TV is now going to be available in North America for $99. And I think that's pretty sweet. If I get more TVs, I'll pick one up for sure. I don't have use for it now. And a couple good games, but as Manny said, just showing a lot of games that are coming out for everybody. And then Sarah and Zach, if you guys want to say if there's anything else you saw, and maybe just wrap up your thoughts on Nintendo, since you guys are the Nintendo guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Sarah's more the Nintendo person than I am, so.
I just wanted to comment on how awesome the Smash event was, and I had a lot of fun watching it, and it was really cool that Nintendo did that, and I think that that's a point that kind of got overlooked, is that, they did their Direct, but the tournament, even though it was a tournament, was really cool.
Yeah, I think, especially, again, as you two know, we're really ingrained in the Smash community at the moment. So it's cool to see that, we had a couple of you guys come out to McCabe's there to watch it on the big screen. And so it was cool to see them doing something like this, supporting and acknowledging the fact that there's a community, a hardcore community behind a lot of their games. And hopefully we'll see it, you look at the first tournaments I ran, they weren't really the most to the rule book kind of tournaments. So, it's Nintendo's first shot at it, but it's cool that they're acknowledging this kind of thing.
Well, that's what Nintendo's saying, too. With this new Smash Brothers, they want that to be the new competitive platform, which, is the Smash community going to accept that? I don't know. I mean, a lot of people, it's hard to change people's habits, right? People are so used to GameCube, so used to Melee that are they going to change it? I mean, it's an investment too, right? They got to spend, what is it, $249 in Canada right now for a Wii U, and then on top of that, $60 for a brand new game.
But you can use your GameCube controller now. That's kind of cool.
But then at the same time, though, you got to buy an adapter to be able to utilize the GameCube controller. So I mean, I think maybe in a couple of years we'll see that become the new platform. Are we going to see that right away? I absolutely don't think so. Am I going to play the shit out of it? 100%. Simply because Mega Man's in it, and any game that has Mega Man, goodbye me. I don't even care if he sucks. He could be the worst character in the game. He could have one move, just punch, and I'll play him. And I'll find a way to be good with him because he's Mega Man. Other than that, though, I mean, we talked about everything I wanted to talk about at E3. The only one I didn't talk about was Persona 4 Ultimax. I think that's going to be cool. That's going to be a lot of fun. Atlas kind of bummed up a little bit, though, because the game contains a whole bunch of spoilers for Persona 4. And then, yeah, that was pretty much it. And then, yeah, the other game, Mighty Number 9. That's the game, my number one game that I'm waiting for.
That's looking pretty good.
It's did you see the video with Inafune when he actually sat down to play it? They do this trailer with Inafune. So he's obviously the creator of Mega Man. And then he left Capcom to do Mighty Number 9 because Capcom fucked up Mega Man pretty hard in the last, 5-6 years. Mm-hmm. And they built the game, and then they sat him down to test it, him to sit down, and it's just him sitting in front of a TV, and he plays it. And at the end of it, he stops and just puts down the controller and looks back, and he just says, it's perfect. So, I mean, I think for the creator of Mega Man, and somebody like myself who's been following that franchise since I was 5 years old. That's my number one game that I'm looking for right now, which wasn't at E3, and I was a little bit bummed that he didn't show anything about that really. So
you have to remember though that E3 is not for indie games. Like, where would they have shown it?
Yeah, but that's the thing though, is I don't think like with the Kickstarter and stuff. I don't think. I mean, yes, okay. I mean, classification-wise, it's going to be an indie game. I think in terms of volume and sales, though, I don't think it's going to be an indie game.
No. That's you're making these. It doesn't matter, man. If it's made by an independent development studio without any backing from any large publishers, it's an indie game.
Yeah,
sales have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Zero to do with that. I mean, if you look at Limbo, you look at any of these, if you look at, you name it, a lot of these games have great sales, but the only place it would have been featured is if it's in the corner of the Xbox One booth or the corner of the Sony booth, right? Mm-hmm. Sure, all these indie games that are coming to our platform, in this one corner is Kenji Inafune standing here for 12 hours.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, how sweet would that have been, right? You know what I mean? Like,
you're asking for a different show. You're asking for PAX at that point, and I think PAX. That's why I gotta get it. I hate it when people say "have fun at E3." It's like, no, I'm not going to PAX. This is work, and it's a lot of work, and I'm not gonna get to eat. And I'm gonna have to run around, and I'm gonna see a lot of games that I don't want to see, and I have zero interest in. But I'm gonna be there because I'm doing my job. I'm taking notes, and I'm gonna write this crap up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
E3 is a different beast. It's maybe if you're Giant Bomb and you're very selective about what you get to see, you get to have the great show because you only see what you want to see and you have super access to all of it. But for everybody else, it's work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
I'm not there to get free stuff. I'm not there to, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I guarantee you, I saw a lot of games that I saw. The ratio of games that I care about to I don't care about is a lot higher than I don't care about. I saw a lot of games I do not give a shit about versus the games that I do. I won't say which are which because I still gotta, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I agree.
We're all on that page though. We just like different stuff.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's
it's a lot different when you have to sit there for an hour and ask the person questions about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So your game is awesome. Tell me about it.
Conference like that though is like what you hit on before is that there's something for everybody there, and while you got to sit there and deal with the bullshit until you get to the shit that you're really interested in, that other person that's sitting next to you has to do the same exact thing for the opposite stuff. So
like even something like the Deadborn game, there were a lot of even as many people were in that demo and excited to see Deadborn, there was just as many people going in there like, is there an easy mode? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, just to get through it.
People in that demo going, I do not care about this Dark Souls wannabe. Tell me about your game. Easy mode, I do not care. I want to go now. Believe it or not, there were people in The Witcher who were talking to the whole thing. I had to turn around and say, shh, I'm trying to watch this 45-minute demo of the fucking Witcher, man. This looks awesome. But these Chinese reporters behind me did not give a shit at all. But you know what I mean? It's just that's E3 in a nutshell. You take a bunch of appointments, some you care about, some you don't. If you're lucky, you get to see more that you care about than you don't care about, and no one cares about the same things. You know.
Right.
Yeah. No, I plan out getting to PAX East next time.
Yeah. See, that's what I always say.
that's
Though. If
close.
you want to have fun at a convention, go to BlizzCon, go to PAX.
Yeah, go to too many games. Go to some of the smaller ones.
I will say a lot of the fun of E3 happens around the sides. They happen in the hallways when you're seeing guys you haven't seen in a year. When you have that rare interview with someone that's not an interview but a conversation, like a 20-minute conversation with a guy. You're like, oh, this guy's great. I just made a new friend and learned about this game. It's the going to the pre-show and the stuff afterwards. It's the meetup. It's having lunch with this guy. You know. I think a lot of the fun of E3 is that side stuff, and then those rare demos. You're like, hey, I got to play Shadows of Mordor for an hour. It was pretty awesome. Let's talk about it for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of fun. It's a different kind of fun, but it's not like PAX are like, oh yeah, let's go hang out and see all our friends and go to this room in Street Pass, and then we're gonna go see this stage demo of this, and it's different. It's very different.
Oh, exactly. It wouldn't exist if it was all the same thing, though, right?
Yeah. At this point, though, I think it's just a straight up fan. You're better off going to a PAX East or a PAX Prime. I think you'll have a much better time.
Man, I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to ask Zach real quick. What's your favorite Mega Man?
Oh man, tie between probably Mega Man X3 and Mega Man 3.
Okay.
Actually, no, not even Mega Man X3. Mega Man X4. I'm gonna say Mega Man X4 and Mega Man 3.
Okay, good. Good choice.
X4, when you can play as Zero throughout the entire game, created an entire different game, man. It was amazing.
You passed the test. He said good.
Yeah. Mega Man 3 is probably the best one, I think, out of the...
Yeah, that's where Rush becomes an actual character.
Oh, but yeah, I saw in the Xbox booth. It's weird, though. I think there were less people on the show floor because they were actually carding. You had to, for once, every time you walk into one of the halls, you had to show your ID and your badge. And I'm guessing that scared away a lot of the badge passers. I even heard there was a guy walking around the E3 who printed up a bunch of his badges, and he was selling like 700 copies, which
Wow.
he just had 700 copies, and he was selling them $400 a pop. So they had to show, they checked IDs at every store. So there was actually, for once, if you were just walking around the show floor, there was actually more to play this time around than usual. But it seems like the games that were there to play, no one cared about. Like, it was sad. Like, Valiant Hearts, they had 2 demo stations pretty much empty the entire time at the show floor. Which sucks. It was like the most interesting, unique game I played there, you know? But no one cared. So,
All right, and then
Sunset Overdrive was cool, though. People wanted their... Yeah, if your game demo came with some free crap at the end, you had the longest lines.
well, everybody likes free stuff.
Well, that's why I always make this comment about E3 seems schizophrenic. They don't know who the show is for, because they act like everyone says it's an industry-only show, but then the show floor and the booths act like it's PAX, and they hand out free crap and garbage, and they're catering to the people who can stand in like 6-hour lines and not care. Do you know what I mean? It's like, is it for the GameStop employees or it's the guy who knows a guy who gets a badge, or is it actually for work?
Yeah.
So it's a little schizophrenic.
No, that's true.
Which is why all the stuff that you actually care about and you want to see, that's why I feel so bad too. I took a demo for Borderlands the pre-sequel, and I saw these people waiting in line to get into like this big moon dome. It was like really nicely air conditioned in the seats for a client. I could just stay there all day. It was great. But anyway, and they said, all right, so if you have an appointment to play the game, come around back, and if you don't, the exit's right there. I'm like, oh, that sucks. People waited an hour, and all they had to do was watch a demo and leave. That sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
And like for Dragon Age, like, as interesting as that demo was, that 40-minute demo, people were waiting like 3 hours for that, 3 or 4 hours to just sit in this little booth. And the worst part is there was like a VIP line that was like maybe 10 people long. I just walk into the VIP line and I go in, and like the people who were waiting for 4 hours have to sit on the floor. And they don't even get to play the game. And it's like, thank you, here's a shirt, goodbye. I just like, it's weird. It's like I said, it's schizophrenic.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that sounds
all
awful.
about the free stuff. Sometimes you wait ridiculously long and then you walk away with nothing. Like there were some people waiting for the Shadow of Mordor studio demo thing. So they had like this big booth inside of the Warner Brothers thing, and people were waiting there for like 2-3 hours. Then you walk in, you watch someone play Shadow of Mordor, and then they say, "Okay, thank you for coming. Please leave. The exit's over there." And then of course I had an appointment, so I walk over to the side and I play the game for an hour. And it's just, it's. I'm not trying to brag. It just seems so weird that it's that. I know people always tell me like, "Oh, I need to go to E3. It's like my lifelong dream." And I'm thinking like, yeah, it's probably fun to walk around for a day, but more than that though, I think you'll quickly run out of free time, and then you'll always get bumped, and it sucks so bad. Like even like 2 years ago for the Old Republic, I remember people waiting 4 hours in line for a chance to play. There was no even guarantee they were gonna get to play. And of course, all the people, the E3 people, they go in, and then I mean the media people, they go into their booth, and then the guys who are waiting 4 hours, they watch a little studio demo, and then they stand behind the press people who just walked up. It's so sad, and you feel kind of guilty, but then you guys like, no, fuck you, I'm actually working. It's like I said, it's an interesting kind of schizophrenic show. It's schizophrenic. They don't know who to cater to at sometimes. Like last year, it was so weird. Nintendo, they only had 3 places to play 2 places to play 3DS games. It was both were pretty bad. Is one, they strapped into a bunch of models that they hired out for the show floor. So you can just walk up to a model and play a DS that was chained to her waist. And
Yeah,
say,
I
like,
remember
okay,
that.
I need to play this game because I want to talk about it. But I feel awkward standing here for 30 minutes while you're staring at me and blown out of your mind as I play this thing. Or there was another place where they actually had like a demo station set up. Except they had like a prize wheel where after you play the demo, they would spin a wheel, and on each one of the prizes was either like a stuff of bomb, a Luigi coin, or if you were really lucky, a 3DS. So of course, because you could win a 3DS, that was a 4-hour line. So if you actually just wanted to play the games to play the games, not because you wanted free shit, there was no way to do that. You had to maybe wait in front of you had to be like a stalker in front of the little like the rest area, like, and you wait for one of them to come out, like, can I play your game now? And she's like, okay, hi. So you want to play the game? Okay, here. And then she's like looking at her watch like every 5 seconds as you're playing this game. You're like, oh. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Thank you, lady model, for letting me play. I'm gonna leave now.
That was awkward.
I don't know. I have lots of weird E3 stories if you want to hear them. But I could go for like 2 hours about weird E3 stories.
That's enough.
We'll have
I know they're boring. They're boring. What can I say?
E3 stories from many. Okay, before we get to the last bit of news, then Eric, is there anything like last E3 that just kind of got your attention? That you're excited for?
No, I'm just super excited to finally have some games on the next gen. You know, like I played FIFA this morning because I was like in World Cup mode from watching the games and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd fired up my Xbox One in the past like 3 months. Like no joke, it's been not turned on in 3 months. So
you just donated it to me, man. You don't need that.
all right, man. You get one so we can play together. You know, you gotta get one.
You hold on to it.
But yeah, no, I'm just really excited. I think there's a lot of cool stuff that's going to be coming out. I think it's going to be I think 2015 and the end of 2014, October, November, December, and into 15.
2015 is going to be massive, just not for everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's like the new Star Wars is coming out. There's the new Avengers 2 is coming out.
Yeah,
Every game ever is coming out.
Yeah, every game ever, 2015. That's the release
pretty
date.
much. It'll be a good year for people that enjoy video games.
It's going to be a good year for just like popular media. It's going to be a huge year.
Yep. Oh, it's going to be fun. Manny, then, is there anything else that we missed?
I'll just mention the best games that I saw really quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so the best games I actually played, I'll just list them. If you care, you can ask me. Is Witcher adventure game. I got to play the physical, like briefly mess around with the physical version. I got to mess around with the PC version really quickly. The PC version's like identical to the board game version. It's really nice how thoughtfully they recapture that. Forza Horizon 2. It wasn't a great demo. That's like a whole different conversation about not good demos that I could have, but I won't. But it wasn't a great demo because they're not showing the part of Forza Horizon that you love, which is just cruising down the road, listening to the radio, and if you want to jump in a race, you can. Mm-hmm. It was just a straight point-to-point race, and you went off-road at a time. You can change the radio. It wasn't a great demo, but it still felt nice. Middle Earth, which actually the one game I got to spend some significant time with. Lovers of a Dangerous Space-Time. Have you guys heard this one? It's like that indie game where you and another person are on this big circular spaceship, and there's a bunch of different control consoles, and each one is a different thing. So you'll have one person run to the engines, and you'll control the engines, and you'll move around. And like, oh no, quick, we need guns because ships are coming in. So another person will run to the guns, and like, oh no, we need the shields because missiles are coming in. So the other guy will run to the shield. It's sort of like this really interesting take on a cooperative twin-stick shooter. Really interesting. And lastly, Sniper Elite 3, just because I like the setting, and it was an open station, and I got to mess around with an Xbox One controller at length, and I said, I enjoy this more. And then I moved on. Favorite games of the show that I actually got to see were Wild Hunt, The Witcher Wild Hunt, great demo. Well, once again, it wasn't the good...
Was that where they were going after the Griffin?
No, actually, this demo takes place immediately after that. So like at the Microsoft press conference, he goes after a Griffin and he kills it. And then this one picks up immediately afterwards where he's turning in the Griffin head. And then he goes on this big long quest chain in the swamps, and you get to see more combat. And and you get to jump around a lot, and you fast travel. And the map is massive on this game, gigantic. But like, unfortunately though, I don't think they did the best job showing the game because they just went to fetch quest to fetch quest to fetch quest. I think if you were actually playing the game, you would have had to walk to the next quest location, and you would have encountered a bunch of amazing things along the way, and you would have found new quests along the way. But instead, it was like, you want me to do this favor for you, you got to do this favor for me. And then I do that favor. It's like, you want me to do this favor for you, you got to do this favor for me. And then, so imagine that over and over again. It's like, so, but voice acting is great. Everything looks great. Graphics looks great. Hair looks great. Armor looks great. And finally, Pillars of Eternity, another Kickstarter game. This one, if you're confused, there's like 3 big old PC RPGs that are coming back: Wasteland 2, Tides of Numenera, and Pillars of Eternity. And like Wasteland is like the new old Fallout. Tides of Numenera is the new old Planescape Torment, and Pillars of Eternity is new old Baldur's Gate. And I got to see a demo of that. We have the new we have an interview coming up later on RP Gamer. I think the embargo's today or tomorrow. I gotta stop being lazy and write that. But anyway, that was actually interesting. They put their Kickstarter money to good use, and I won't say any more because I don't know if the embargo's today or tomorrow. So that's it.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
That's my fast 1-minute breakdown of E3.
Beautiful. All right, I'm just gonna list a couple things before we finish off here. Then, if anybody's interested in more not heists on GTA Online, I'm Not a Hipster update has been released. So I don't know if that's.
I downloaded that before it was popular.
I get it. It's gonna come with 12 new jobs and gang attacks, and then some other tweaks in there too. If you want to read it, I'll link you guys to it. But that's out live, so if you guys want to go check that out. The next one is this whole thing on the Watch Dogs textures. I don't know if you guys saw that. Obviously, Watch Dogs came out subpar graphically than what was shown at E3 2012. Some modder, has found the textures in the game, like shipped with the game, and unlocked them in a mod, so you can actually unlock those on PC, so the game looks exactly like it was supposed to back in 2012. All the bloom effects and blur and stuff like that. So it looks pretty sweet. So I would check it out if you guys want to see what it actually looks like with gameplay. It looks pretty sweet. And the last one is the Steam Boy. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but apparently rumored that there's going to be a Steam Boy, which is like a Game Boy, but it's Steam's version. And most, if not all, games on I love the look that both Zach and Sarah just gave. Almost all games on Steam will be able to be played on this device. Besides the fact that we're supposed to hear more next year on it, that's pretty much all we have. I don't know if Manny, if you've heard anything else on it. Eric, Charles, anybody?
Okay, I'm going to chime in for a second, though, just because I work in the wireless industry, so that's going to require cellular connection. If you're going to be playing Steam games on it constantly, anything online, sure, the system, I don't know how much the system they're going to charge for it, but you're going to be looking at bills, especially in Canada with our wireless services, you're going to be paying at least $100 to $150 a month easy
That's
to be
not
able to
shitty.
just to be able to keep up the data usage. That's going to be required to play that. So, yeah, it's I mean that's a hit or miss, right? So not only are you going to have to invest in the system, invest in the game, but you're going to need LTE capabilities to play it. And I don't know. I think it's a cash grab for the wireless industry, man. They're going to make a killing off that with tablet plans and stuff. It's going to be insane. It's going to be a lot of money sunk into that to be able to use that. I mean, then again, though, if you just download the game to the system, just keep playing it, you know, just be offline, yeah, it'll be fine. But if you want to do anything online, expect, like, cell phone bills, wireless bills of, yeah, $100 to $150 every time. So I don't know how I feel about that. Mixed emotions about that, then.
Yeah, just so you guys know, it looks like the controller that's going to be out for Steam boxes. It's got 2 touchpads, 8 action-face buttons, 4 trigger buttons, and 2 additional action buttons on the rear back. We're going to get final specs soon. Apparently a good balance between cost and performance. And yeah, it'll allow you guys to use a majority of current games on Steam. But yeah, we're supposed to hear more on that in the next coming months, actually. So I'd keep an eye out for that, because that's interesting. I guess it's one of the new iterations in the Steam boxes. Just going to be a handheld version, so it's interesting. We'll see where it goes, but it's Steam Boy Machine Team are the guys making it. So it's not Valve themselves; it's a third party, just like the other Steam boxes. But I thought that was interesting, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the near future. But if that's it for everybody, I think we're going to wrap up our wrap-up of E3. And then after this, for those involved, we have our game club going on. So we're just going to go over our chapters. We're going to take a break, obviously get some blood flowing through us, get some drinking food into us, and then go on to our game club, and we're talking about chapters 4 to 7 of Dead Space 2. So if you're interested, make sure you join us after. It'll be on the same Google Plus page and the same YouTube page. But we're going to go down the line and say goodbye, and thanks for everybody coming out. So, Charles, thanks for coming out down at the other end there. It was a pleasure to have you again.
No problem. Sorry, I can't watch more conferences.
Watch more. And we'll jump to the other side. Thanks to our new guys, Zach and Sarah, for coming out and joining us this week. It was a pleasure to have you guys.
Thanks for having us, guys. Yeah, this was fun.
Sorry, I like to talk about Nintendo.
Hey, that's all right. It's video games, and Nintendo does video games. So hopefully, yeah, in the future, if you guys have time, we'll be able to see you guys out again, because it was awesome having you guys.
Absolutely, man. Anytime you guys will have us, we'll be here.
Beautiful. And back bouncing to the other side, we got Manny. Thanks, Manny, for coming out and giving us your inside insight on some E3 stuff this year.
Insight. Let me see. Here's one. People were walking around with giant turkey legs because there was a Gauntlet food truck, and then they went to go play games, and then the controllers were greasy from turkey legs. There you go. Inside.
Turkey leg controllers. That's inside insight from E3. And sorry, I forgot Twitter handles. So make sure you follow Manny on Twitter at MarinoEM, so you can hear about turkey leg controllers. And Charles is at CStovetop, or on Twitter or Twitch. You can find him at twitch.tv/CStove. And Sarah and Zach, you got Sarah Yosarar. I always say it wrong. On Twitter, and we got Zach at Zachary Hart, so make sure you can follow those guys. And Eric, thanks for coming out. You can follow Eric at EricMiller3. Thanks for coming out. It was good having you. You got a fan there, Eric. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate it. Yeah, so definitely follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be doing a couple giveaways this week. I'm going to be giving away 10 copies of Watch Dogs for the Xbox One, and a couple copies of Madden and Wolfenstein as well.
So you're giving away 9 copies of Watch Dogs on the Xbox One, you said?
10. I already have one for myself.
I was going to say minus another one from the Wolfenstein giveaway as well.
I haven't even opened it. I played FIFA this morning, and I probably should have popped that in, but I had to play fucking Dead Space to finish those goddamn chapters. So.
Hey, Brody, how was your all-nighter playing Dead Space?
Brody's all-nighter of playing Dead Space is playing Dead Space for like 20 minutes and then going to bed.
No.
Yes, Brody.
No. Yeah, and then I finished it today, so it's all good. Yeah, so make sure you don't want to miss out on those giveaways. So make sure you follow Eric, Eric Miller 3. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna make
that's all
sure I do
going
that
down
too.
this week.
That's right.
I
He's
want
giving
some
away
Wolfenstein.
9 copies.
9 copies. One's dedicated to that Emmanuel guy.
Oh yeah, right. Manny on the lowdown. Yeah, I'll hook you up. Manny.
And myself over here, I'm the guy at the end. Or I guess in the middle for you guys. I'm LeafX. Make sure you subscribe to youtube.com/GamersRoundtable Show to see all our previous episodes, and obviously this one when it uploads. And we're also on iTunes. The podcast, I gotta keep that updated. But go subscribe to us on iTunes if you just want to listen to us and don't want to see us. I don't know why you wouldn't want to though. But yeah, make sure you follow me on Twitter @LeafX to find out more about when we do this stuff and to hear about my silly things on the interwebs. But once again, thanks for coming out. We do this every week at 7 p.m. EDT. This is a Gamers Roundtable show, and after that, we usually do our game club. So make sure you guys join that as well. If you guys want to play the games we're playing, you can play along with us because we have a schedule that we go by that I don't like to follow. But
Yes.
thanks for all the questions. We love taking questions from you guys and answering things. But until next time, keep gaming hard. Manny, where's your quip?
Oh, T-Mobile is doing Uncarrier. I'm watching that.